Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on your time and your location. I greet you and I salute you. And I welcome you to this our morning broadcast. That we are going to discuss so many things. So please, as I welcome you this morning, please welcome one another by liking the program and sharing it. That is how you are welcoming another person beside you through your own page, because those in your contacts are not those in my own contacts. That is why it is very imperative once you come, you share the program, please. This morning, we want to send a message to America, to US, Canada, Israel, Austria, and many of them. There are people that comes across our page. Please endeavor to send this message that I am reaching out this morning to your people, to your governments, for them to know the actual reason why people are dying, the killing are continuously going on in Nigeria after the genocide of 1976 to 1970. That is why we are here to remind them why. And the why that genocide will not stop until all the entire world that know about what Biafra people passed through, and why why we have a name as a country called Nigeria, that simply means death sentence to every indigenous person. That is why we are here this morning. That is why also we are pleading with you to do what? To come in, like, and share the program, so those that are not official that we are live through you, they will know that we are live this morning to do justice to the what is causing the problem and the solution to the problem that the entire world are facing today, or what is causing the killing of the indigenous people today. In that three things that make British promoted Nigeria as a country: crude oil, palm kernel, cocoyam. These are the three things that make people today answer a name called Nigeria, that simply means death sentence to every indigenous person. So we want to let the world know that this crude oil has never finished and is not going to finish. We want them to know that those palm kernel has never finished and is not going to finish. We want them to know that the cocoyam that British saw as one of the things that will generate the economy, that up till today, that all these things has never finished. But human being is about to finish. And if there is no human being to produce this thing that is your attention, that you love so much, you have interest on them, tell me, is it three are going to produce those things that you, as someone that God created, who believe in God, in heaven. Close your eyes, and people are dying every day in Nigeria. People are being killed, people are being slaughtered, a lot of manner of evil things, a lot of genocide of the indigenous people are going on today because of the plan, because of British agenda, because of for them to make British one of the most weirdest country in the world. That is why also British is there. The Christians in Nigeria are facing seriously genocide every blessed day. And that is why we are asking the world to know exactly why people are dying. They are killing Christians. There is ongoing, continuously genocide that you can see in all over platform in the social media today. That people of the indigenous people are being killed by Fulani, by Boko Haram jihadis because of their attention because of their mission to Islamize any indigenous person. That is why there is many killings, there is many genocide. It is unaccountable. But I want you to know one thing today. Yes, I am Africa. I want you to know one thing today. People are dying because of the selfish interests. Yes, my brother from Australia, you are from a good country. I appreciate you and I love you. We want you also, you can see your flag in my page. We want your government to know why there is genocide in Nigeria, to look out the killings that is going on. Australia or Austria did not colonize anybody. They did not colonize anybody. They are on their own, managing their resources, taking care of their citizens, and protecting their citizens. But we are talking about a country that cannot be able to protect citizens of its own country. That country is Nigeria. Okay, thank you so much. Right, Sham, you're welcome. Kevin Nabos, you're welcome. Good morning, my brother. It's been long. So we are here this morning to let the world know why in the first place they have that name called Nigeria. Because of three things that America see as one of the most important things that will make them to feel they are the richest country in the world, that are going to be on top of the world. That is why the killing that started before 1914 is continuously going on till 2025. If you calculated people that died in before 1914 amalgamation of Nigeria, you can't count, because Nigeria is a country where you don't keep record because there is no internet, there is no light, there is nothing you can use to keep records, except if people take it upon themselves to be writing it out every day. Nigeria is a country where they give if they give birth to a newborn baby, no data. So that is why you cannot count how many people that from 1914 before 1914 that British fought the warrior of Ekumek called Alidu Noba. From fighting those men, British wasted many lives in the old eastern region. Wasting life from British does not start today. The only thing they care is what's the three things that make them to have this place, this thing, this death sentence to every indigenous person called Nigeria. Is because of just the so-called interest of British claiming that they want to become one of the biggest, richest country in the world. And the only thing that will make them the richest country in the world, they saw it in Africa, precisely in where? In Nigeria. What is those three things that makes Britain to thought about calling people Nigeria by force, by thunder, because of their own selfish interest. That is why we are here this morning to join hand to let the world know why they must break Nigeria very fast, speedily, before Nigeria will wipe every indigenous people out in this present 2025 that it will see as 21st century. The killing is because of three things. British study and find out there is oil, crude oil, palm kernel. Imagine because of cocoyam. This is three things that British see these three things I said, that anybody who has those three things, they are richest people in the world. Crude oil, palm oil, and the what? Cocoyam. This is the basic of you answering one Nigeria. That means a death sentence to every indigenous person today. We want the world to look beyond what happened in 1967, 1970, to start looking from 1905. Let the world start researching from 1905, when Britain starts studying Eastern region, South, North, and when they landed, after they have studied, they take maximum 8 years to study before they can start implementing the first ever genocide that British, under colonial master, committed in our land. They committed this atrocity, moreover, in Biafra land, in the old Eastern region. Please, 1 minute. Yeah, sorry about that. The British on their own committed war, committed atrocity in old Eastern region before coming to the amalgamation of 1914. Remember, there was no amalgamation in 1912, in 1911, in 1910, and all the rest. But British was down in the Eastern region, start fighting, destroying our culture, start destroying our life heritage before the amalgamation of 1914. They destroyed a Khmer warrior in 1913, October 15, finally. Then, 1914, January, amalgamation happened. They also destroyed Arochukwu, where Biafra, where the Eastern region believes that this is what is guiding and protect us. They destroy those things, take it away, and turn back and give us Bible. And those things they destroy, take away from our own country, our own old Eastern region. Today in UK, people go and watch those things and pay the money for seeing them. We are this morning to let America, let UN, EU, Africa Organization, AU, that they lied to you. And up to today, some little countries have started understand those lies of British, because they lied to you that allowing Biafra to live as a country will bring multiple countries in Africa. That South Africa will be fighting against their fellow South Africa. Ghana will be fighting. Many of you in your country will be divided into 2 to 3 places. That is why you don't have to allow Biafra to become a country, which is a pure lie. They lied to you. Why did I say so? I said so because of the calculation of countries that has been emerged after 1967 to 1970. After. In 1967, before 1967, Ethiopia fought in 1963 to push away colonial masters. They succeeded in 1941. Algeria fought in 1954 to 1962. They got their independence, and you people allowed them to go. They are Africa. Now, Namibia fought after you people have denied Biafran people their own country. And the coming of Namibia in 1975, then the Biafra in 1967 to 1970. Which one first? We want the world to know exactly why Biafran people will never give up. And today, we are still fighting. That is why we could stood up to make our declaration. We have regained our territory, our country back. Only that's our country name, called Biafra. We only make it to be uniformed. We unified it in a very good pronunciation, which we called United State of what? Biafra. In abbreviation, USB. We want all the entire content of the world, minus Britain, and those that have lied to you in the past, to know that that lie, they lied against the Biafran people. This lie that British told many people in many countries in the past, that made them to deny Biafra international recognition, that makes Chukwuemeka to surrender. And because of there is no ceasefire, like the way it happened to every other countries in the world, is also why we are here this morning to let you know those lies and the white lie to you. British or Britain or whatever, England, the UK, London, they lied to you because of what? Because of their own personal interests of economy. That the economy of British can only be growth when it's come that they can be able to wipe away the people of Eastern region first. Because of what? Crude oil that they find where? In a place that they say that self-acclaimed Biafra. That is why, because of these three things we have, crude oil, palm oil, cocoyam. This is three things that British, when they saw it in 1905, because in 1904, yes, British was already around supervising, monitoring researching what we have, and they find out that we are the people that have everything that it takes to survive, for people to survive, for economy booster. And because of their interest on this economy booster, Britain decided to name a country called Nigeria. Because of what? One, crude oil. 2, palm kernel. 3, cocoyam. These are the 3 things I'm going to prove to you that British saw in the past before the amalgamation. And because of these 3 things, that is why they amalgamated Nigeria to be a country. So they can be able to control. For me to prove it to you, that is why before the amalgamation, the British have already built their company. You see their plan. They already established from where they will be taking these things away and went to their own country. The same way British also, England, UK also advised Finland to do the same exchange. That's Nigeria will give them oil from Lekki toll gate, that they will use it to enrich themselves. And the governor of the president of Finland, President Stubb, agreed. That is why he arrested our prime minister, Simon Ebanjoko, threw him into prison. That is how British helped Nigeria to kidnap our president, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and put him in prison. Give him life sentence. The life sentence that Nigeria called to give my president, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, was instruction coming from the entire people that believe in that word called Britain. That was the arrangement. Moreover, UK, in Chatham House, they have discussed how to sentence Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, to lay the voice down. Their mind is it what we saw in all these years that made us to refuse to negotiate with them? So this man, if they come up now, they will chase us away. Our hand will not reach in this oil again. No control of all these things again. They said no. We will never allow them to remove our mouth from this oil that we are making, from this sugar, from this honey that we are taking from all this town region. They call it where self-acclaimed Biafra was declared because of oil. So I want to center my point to this morning for you to know that why people are dying in Nigeria is because of the mistake, because of the selfish interest, because of the envy, because of the jealousness, because of the greedy of British. That is why they are killing Christians today. Because if there is no amalgamation of 1914, nobody will answer a Nigeria that means a death sentence to every indigenous person today. Please, as you join us, please, have you liked the program? Please like and share the program. This program, we are bringing you from my own time. Nobody sent me. Nobody paid me. This is what I know. This is how I do my own program. On behalf of my newly declared country that are lacking the same international recognition that British denied us in the past. I am from United State of what? Biafra. United State of Biafra. That is where I'm from. That is my country. Nigeria means a death sentence. That is why in your countries, Australia, every country in the world, you will see a black man. Moreover, people that are speaking the same language with me, Igbos. And those non-Igbos are there. They are in your country because Nigeria is a death sentence to them. For you to be alive, you must run away from Nigeria. For you to eat 3 times square meal, you must run away from Nigeria. That is the country that we are talking about that have crude oil, palm kernel, cocoyam. This is the most vital 3 things that grow GDP in the world, that grow economy in the world. These 3 things: crude oil, palm kernel, cocoyam. These 3 things, nothing give money in the world more than these 3 things. Because of these 3 things that British took away from us, that is why today you can see them shining in their countries. They use the blood of people to build Britain, to build UK. Everything that UK built today was being built on the blood of the Biafran people. In time of slave master, they did us shege. What they did to us is unacceptable. So my people, we want the world to know. So because of our own God's given crude oil, palm kernel, cocoyam, is it why that we are going to be perished away? Because this is the same London that denied block Biafra international recognition. The same British was the one who grants Angola their independence in 1975, who allow Guinea-Bissau to move, who allow Mozambique the same 1970. I want to tie up on this concern of 1970, that British blocked Biafra recognition and lied to America, lied to Russia, told Korea lied to Australia, lied to Canada, Sweden. They lied to all of them. They call it lobby. They lobby on behalf of Nigeria that Biafra can never get recognition, that they should allow us to be wiped away. We are only people in this world that have gone into war for 3 years. No foreign country has ceasefire because British present, because of they are the one that colonized Biafran territory or colonized Nigeria. They make the world to look like just internal affair. Where have you seen in the world? Please tell me, I stand to be corrected. Where internal affair have lasted for 3 years with gun and bullets, no stopping. I stand to be corrected on the comment section. Please tell me where in this world that you have seen that people, that war are going on 3 years, no intervention of any foreign country at all, because of British bloc, and said if you are trying to ask the pussies fire and they succeeded and proving why they want Biafra, that's our economy in 1967 to 1970 will be babadash, that our economy will go down. We are making who we are from the killing of the indigenous people. Go and check the British war. You will see an Irishman. You will see what the British using their hand pointing and killing Biafrans in 1967 to 1970. You will see them. So for those claiming one Nigeria, for you that you are from Britain entirely, the only forgiveness we are going to give to you is now that we have bring solution to the problem of Nigeria. The solution is what? They go back and give us what you denied us. What is that? Grant us international recognition. Give us recognition. Sweden, Irish, America, every country in the world, Canada, as one of the best countries, Australia, Austria. We are calling on you people to give us recognized Biafra government under Dr. Ngozi Arabeze right now as the acting or as the DPM of the Biafran people, who are piloting the affairs of the Biafran people. Now my president Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in Nigeria Sokoto prison, as they said, they give themselves life sentence. The same thing now that my Prime Minister, Simon Ebanjoko, is in prison in Finland. They say they give themselves 6 years. We are calling all of you that once we raise our voice to ask what happened and to let you people know exactly what we are passing through and the solution, UK, British, we join hand with these evil countries and kill our people. Nigeria is in darkness because of people that came from the rising sun was being suppressed and kept down. Africa is in darkness, passing through because they said in the beginning, which what they told all the members of the African organization, that granting Biafra as the international organization to become a country is going to put all of us in a mess. That they are going to generate more country in Africa, they are going to cause more war, and they will follow African brothers accepted without knowing that British find out that Biafra will expose their impunity, that Biafra will not allow them to make Africa anymore, that Biafra will move to chase them away. If we do a business in Nigeria or in Biafra, it's going to be a genuine business that British will pay, not this one they are taking free of charge. Nigeria is a death sentence that kills the indigenous people. That is why you are seeing this ongoing genocide. And what the British is doing? Nothing. British is going to do nothing because they have an agreement with Fulani Sokoto Caliphate that if they tampers to and do not allow them to Islamize Nigeria, that they will destroy the oil pipe. And the British told them, do not destroy the oil pipe. Allow us to be taking the oil the way we want, palm kernel and all these things the way we want. Then we will not interfere when you speed up to Islamize Nigeria. In the history of this, UK was the first country who announced that Nigeria has become an Islamic country. Check the history. Want to see the evil mind they have on us because of what? Our own God's given resources. That is why British want us to wipe away. So, as we're moving this morning, I want to give you the evidence how British never want Biafran people to leave. Their prayer was that in 1967, they helped Nigeria to use hunger to buy our people. They never knew that we will rise up. After all their shenanigans, they never knew. After all their evil plan, they never knew that we will rise up. They thought that they have wiped us away. But Chukwu Okabiama knows our intention, know that we are here to save Africa from poverty, to save Africa from darkness. That is why there will be no united Africa if United States of Biafra is not a country, because we are the key to that united Africa you are looking for. We are the key to help to chase away every colonial master. We are the key to stop the killing of the indigenous people, to stop this ongoing genocide of the Christians that are going on today in Nigeria. We are the key of all these things. The 9 of Biafra in 1967, 1970 is making people to pay dearly with their life. Grant us recognition and see how everything will move well and the light will shine in Africa. Africa dies because of Biafra. It's not an existing country. That is why Africa must join hand to make sure that Biafra becomes a country that will end all the killings, and that everything that is going on today is only Biafra. It's your hope for every black man. For you to be alive, for you to have a good hospital, have a good school, have good roads, at least eat good 3 times square meal in a day. Are you following? That is what Biafra will do what? Bring for you. That is why That is why UK find out who we are. And he says, no. And he said that I am not going to negotiate anything oil with the people of Eastern region. That they are too intelligent, they are too wise. That one will discuss. They are not going to allow me to take it the way I want. Rather, they will be the one to give me the way they want. This is number one. Then when they know and touch pancanel on it, the interest, the hatred, the envy, the jealousness grow more. When they also attached what again? Their evil agenda about us. Everything. Okay. So let America know that the lies that British, like the Prime Minister of British told you, the Feloluga told all of you in 1967 1970 is not true. The attention of lying to you is for them, only them alone, to be making our crude oil, our palm kernel, and our coconut. This is our cocoyam. These are the things that make British like all of you, for them to reach and feel like they're a big country in the world. It is a high time that we draw your attention to know why we are suffering today. We must continue. We must. I want to start with evidence why British refused to negotiate with Biafran people about the oil. The way they negotiate with all the Southerners, with all the Sokoto Caliphates. Listen to this as we move.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, refused to negotiate over oil with the Biafran government for several interconnected, critical reasons that centered on protecting British economic and strategic interests in a unified Nigeria. The refusal was not about a lack of willingness to negotiate in general, but a steadfast commitment to supporting the federal military government, FMG, in Lagos as the only legitimate authority. Here are the primary reasons. 1. Protecting massive oil investment. Shell BP dominance. The dominant oil company in Nigeria was Shell BP, a joint venture between the Dutch Royal Dutch Shell and the British Petroleum, which was partly owned by the British government. The location of oil. The most prolific oil fields were in the eastern region, Biafra. The total British investment in Nigeria, with Shell BP as the most significant part, was estimated to be around £200 million to £450 million at the time. Fear of loss. Britain feared that if they negotiated with or recognized Biafra, the federal government would retaliate by nationalizing all British assets in the rest of Nigeria. Moreover, an independent Biafra might have demanded entirely new concession terms, severely cutting into British profits. Securing the concessions. By supporting the FMG to reclaim the eastern region, Britain was effectively underwriting the continuation of the Shell BP oil concessions under the central, pre-existing Nigerian terms. 2. Strategic energy supply, post-Six-Day War. Middle East crisis. The 1967 Six-Day War in the Middle East led to disruptions in the Suez Canal and a temporary oil embargo by some Arab countries against the UK and the US. Nigerian oil as the alternative. This made Nigerian oil, which was geographically secure and had a low sulfur content, a critically important, reliable, and non-Arab source of supply for the British economy. Ensuring flow, the British government was determined to keep Nigerian oil flowing to mitigate its domestic oil shortfalls. Supporting the FMG was deemed the safest and quickest way to end the war and restore full production under favorable terms. 3. Political strategy. Legitimizing Lagos. Sovereignty principle. The UK's official diplomatic stance was that the conflict was an internal Nigerian affair and that the FMG represented the legitimate, internationally recognized sovereign government of Nigeria. Refusal to legitimize secession. Any negotiation with Biafra over oil, especially involving Shell BP royalty payments, would have constituted a de facto recognition of Biafra's sovereignty. The British government was determined not to grant this legitimacy, as it would undermine their policy of one Nigeria. In short, engaging in oil negotiations with Biafra was a diplomatic red line. It would have jeopardized British investment in the rest of Nigeria, undercut the FMG, their chosen partner, and betrayed the principle of territorial integrity, all while risking their vital oil supply. Their entire policy was designed to ensure Biafra's defeat and the preservation of a unified Nigeria where their economic interests could be securely maintained.
I hope you are listening. I hope you are listening exactly why the amalgamation happened. and why Biafra is not a country. When we talk about Biafra, it's not a new thing. It's not. And when you see someone like Mas Humble Lion fighting for Biafra, he is doing that because of what? Because the spirit, the blood of the innocent children that British massacred in Biafran territory is crying. They have all possessed anyone standing on the side of the United States of Biafra today. Anyone standing on the side of United States of Biafra, the spirit of the Kwashiorkor that British helped Nigeria, UK, hope you had it here, helped Nigeria to by Biafran people through genocide, through committing war crime. Hunger starvation is a war crime. Nigeria commit this law with the British. British are the father who lead them to commit this war, this crime against the Biafran people. So the blood, the spirit of these over 5 million Biafran that was massacred through hunger starvation has rise by entering Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and enter into all of us, including Simon Ekpa. The blood of these children are in us fighting. They said, we are not going to rest until Biafra restore, stand as a fully country in the world. That is only way our spirit will be. We will stop fighting. And that is why Biafra people are fighting till today. That is why Biafra is on top of the game, because this spirit has risen. We have waked them up. I always wake them up in my prayer to continue fighting. Spirit of Ikonso, spirit of Mbosho Yakobugwe, spirit of all the commanders that have been on the faithful side of this movement and lost their life. Their spirits can never be rest until Biafra becomes a country, whether the world like it or not. But at this 21st century, you see these men that are talking about Biafra. We are dead already. Biafra will resurrect all of us. We have lost everything. Only Biafra will give us everything that we have lost. I want to play this again. I am playing it for the foreigners that always come. I am playing it for my friend from Austria, who was on my conversation this morning, who believe that Biafra must be a country. For you to see the lie that British told you, your forefathers about us. That everything that happened in 1967, 1970 was because of the interest of economy, that British want to protect their interest of making UK, London to be one of the most biggest country in the world. And with the blood that are crying, British will never go unpunished. That is why they will continue dividing themselves gradually. Another country is raising up in UK very soon. They will move away from UK. Watch out. It's looming seriously. A lot of things is happening. Meeting is going on the ground. If you see that thing that you never want to happen to us, that make you to kill us, you will pay dearly. British. UK, you will pay. London, you will pay. All of you will pay for the crime that you have committed in our own private area that Chugo Okabiama give us as our own territory, that you have betrayed before the 1914 amalgamation. All this blood are crying. They will not rest until Biafra stand as a United States of Biafra, one country alone, not under any other country in the world. Listen to this. Listen. Why British refused to negotiate with the Biafran people in the first place? Look at it. Oil is in our own area. They did not negotiate with our own people. Rather, They negotiated with the Sokoto Caliphate. Could you imagine? Because of the cocoyam they do what people are producing, they went in there to rubbish them also. They never knew that this interest of British white man is because of their own cocoyam they are producing. Palm kernel that we are producing also is a problem. All these things becomes a problems that made people die today. So we are calling on America to stand, calling on Russia, Israel that are not supporting their own officially, calling on Korea, South Korea, Northern Korea. We call on Sweden, we call on Canada. We are calling to all of you to know the lies that British told all of you in the past, and also the why people are dying today, and also why Biafra recognition that we are asking for is only solution to end this ongoing genocide that it is going on in Nigeria today, and is going to last forever and ever. Biafra recognition is only the everlasting solution that nobody will talk about sanctioning or killing human being again, because we value life more than the way America values life. We don't kill our own. That is how we value life so much. And we want everybody to be alive. That is why disintegration, by recognizing Biafra as a country, is everlasting solution. The dead will stop fighting spiritually, because you all, even you in America, know that the spiritual controls physical. You know that for sure. That is why we are calling on all of you to listen to the lies that British told all of you in the past, both from those claim that are Irish country and all of them. The lies they told you because of only their selfish interests that makes them to buy our people unaccountable numbers, and continue today by supporting one Nigeria again. Now that one Nigeria simply means a death sentence to every indigenous person. That is what one Nigeria means, because the genocide of the people that are killing every day is the indigenous people who are Christians. Remember that before they become Christians, they are living in their territory. Instead of saying that you are protecting Nigeria's territorial integrity, you protect the territorial integrity of those men that are dying, because they are there before the amalgamation of 1914 of yesterday. Because British see crude oil, palm kernel, and the cocoyam. This is why British open their eyes and run and come to amalgamate everybody by force. And which they in their document said they never consult any of us. In Biafra, I was being consulted. I voted that I want Biafra with all my mind. Nobody voted that they want Nigeria. Nobody vote, I want to be a Nigeria. Only Atiku, through Cameroon. He's supposed to be from Amazonia also. But he said no, he wants to be a Nigeria. Vote to bring Atiku into Nigeria. Why our own? What is our crime? Because we are black. Our crime is that we have a good mineral resources. That is our crime. Our leader, my president Mazdan Kanu, for one said that Biafra people are going to give this oil free. Because when you have what I have, why are you going to jealousy? Why are you going to be envy? But when only you have it, I become envy. That's why we use the oil to give countries, to build countries in Africa, in the world. If you come into a business, we do a genuine business with you. Listen to this once again.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, refused to negotiate over oil with the Biafran government for several interconnected, critical reasons that centered...
For several interconnected, several reasons. For several what reasons why they refuse to negotiate with the Biafran people. Look at this is their own document. Is what I'm playing to you. Listen. Sugar Cabinet will give us that money we are looking for. We can be able to get all the great will. So when we come, we can even place it on the wall and we all will read it together. So you will see the evil of UK. They are evil. They are our problem. Their eyes has never leave Nigeria. They are still the one in charge holding Nigeria. And we, Biafran people, they will not hold us any longer.
On protecting British economic and strategic interests in a unified Nigeria. The refusal was not about a lack of willingness
Unified
to
Nigeria, we maintain the interests of British economy. Could you imagine? Not interest of human being. And that is why British help UN to write about first territorial integrity. Do you understand? If not for the lie they told them, that is why I asked this question. Why after denying Biafra in 1970, why is it in 1975 you allow Angola to become a country? Under secession, why do you allow Mozambique to become a country in 1975? Under secession, why do you allow Namibia to become a country in 1990? Why do you allow Eritrea to become a country in 1993 of yesterday? But you don't want countries to come out from Africa. But you allow Namibia to get their independence from South Africa. You allow Mozambique to have their own. You allow Eritrea to have their own from Ethiopia. You allow Sudan to have, you allow South Sudan to have from Sudan. But in our own case, no. We are calling on the entire continent of the world. That is why we see here, we are mentioning EU, AU, UN, Commonwealth. That's current of Commonwealth is 56 countries in the world. We are calling on all of you that Biafran people enough is enough. We cannot be dying because of a white man, because of British or UK interest in a colony. That is only why we are dying. That is why you see this genocide is going on in Nigeria, because if this their stupid and selfish and evil interest was not there, nobody will answer in one Nigeria, and nobody will be clean. Nobody will kill anybody today. Nobody will die. All of you, Israel, Canada, Sweden, Austria, Australia, Russia, your silence is giving Nigeria power to continue killing the indigenous people. When you say this is because it's genocide of the Christians, we agreed, because we want anything will happen that we will complete our fully exit of Nigeria under your UN Charter, Article 2 in bracket 4, adopted charter. You said that secession is only option when people face inhuman treatment, abuse of rights, kidnapping, genocide, hunger, insecurity. These are 5 things you counted. That if people are experiencing the ongoing genocide that are going on today in Nigeria, that the only option they have is external succession of independency of outright of those that they are killing them. And today, what is happening today is what makes America to designate Nigeria on a country of particular concern is what Chukwuemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu, our forefather, saw, and he said, no, being here will take our life. And in 1967, he began the movement of Biafra. Nigeria come to fight us. with British that sponsored Nigeria single-handedly. You are hearing from this document. We are not praying here. We are not prophesying here. We are here to bring out the truth and the history. That's why British is the one sponsoring the Boko Haram to accomplish the agreement he has with Sokoto Caliphate by Islamizing every indigenous person who are Christians, and we say hell no to that. This is part of why Biafra was being declared in 1967 to 1970, and you deny it. Today, look at what British denying Biafra is causing today. That is why we are letting you know Biafra recognition, international recognition, is solution to the problem that are killing people in Nigeria today. Ask me how. I will explain to you. Number one, I want you to tell me that country in the world that will catch Boko Haram killer spot already. Those who was determined to kill, their hobby is to kill their fellow human being, and once they kill, they possess the land. Tell me in that country that have rehabilitated over 15,000 Boko Haram and put it into military. These are the one that have their brother inside bush, that want them to be everywhere. So they enter, they allow Nigeria to capture them, for them to go into military, to also giving their people information, what is going on and what to expect, and when they are coming and how to do their ambush, as you can see today. Now, because of this that they are doing, what happens? That is why you see the killing. How? That is why you see many Boko Haram. That is why you see many of them in Nigeria right now. Why is it that? Because this their brother that was rehabilitated, that their agenda is to Islamize every indigenous person, are the one in the border. So they always give them routes they will use and enter in. That's what's going on. They always give their brothers route to enter. That's why Nigeria today has no border. The border of Nigeria is open because the Boko Haram brothers are the one there. Why the other brothers are coming? The one that will see them are inside bush. You see, they have three criteria of coming. Who are the border? Their brother, Fulani of Sokoto Caliphate, putting a military man there. Happen to be those that are going to worship them, believe in the same ideology, to Islamize everybody. That is what is going on. So, what do I mean? If every indigenous person are the one protecting their border, tell me how people will come in to continue killing indigenous person. That is why that the only option is disintegration of Nigeria. That is why what? That disintegration of Nigeria is the option. Let Oduduwa man protect his border. Let's Arewa protect their border. Let Biafran people protect their border. Then nobody will come in because they are not flying from heaven to enter. They go through land and enter. When the same people that with the same ideology are in their border, they must protect their border. When the same people of the same ideology is in their territory, they must use love to protect their territory. Let me ask you, how many of foreigners are protecting borders of America? How many foreigners are protecting border in UK, if I may ask you? How many foreigners are protecting border in Germany? The indigenous people use their hand to protect their border so nobody will come and kill the indigenous people. That is why that Biafra redeclaration is the solution to the problem, to the killings, to inhuman treatment, to the poverty, to the hunger, to bad road, to bad school, to bad hospital. Biafra recognition is only solution that will end all this, because we are good to go to build one of the most beautiful countries in the world, one of the most beautiful hospital with the beautiful roads. Everything will be very nice. People will live, not like the way we are living right now. I hope you are following. Let us continue on the issue of British.
General, but a steadfast commitment to supporting the federal military government, FMG, in Lagos as the only legitimate authority. Here are the primary reasons. Dominance. The dominant oil company in Nigeria is Shell BP, a joint venture between the Dutch Royal Dutch Shell and the British Petroleum, which was partly owned by the British government. The location of oil. The most prolific oil fields were in the eastern region, Biafra. The total British investment in Nigeria was Shell BP.
The oil is in which area? Biafra. The oil is in which area? This crude oil, Biafran territory. That is why British want to wipe us away by handing Nigeria amalgamation document over to Sokoto Caliphate, those that they know that their hobby is to kill. So for British not to be killed, for their interest of their company to be there, they must hand them over. And they know that average Biafran man is not a killer. We respect blood so much. We don't like touching blood. We respect our fellow human beings so much. These are the reason why when British find out that we are not ready to kill, what happened? The British handed Nigeria over to those that their hobby is to kill.
As the most significant part, was estimated to be around £200 million to £450 million at the time.
Usenation, good morning. I hope the voice is coming out. I hope what I am playing, the voice is coming out, my people. Please, can someone inform me? I hope the voice is coming out loud and clear. I hope, is it coming out loud and clear? Please, I'm asking a question. Is it coming out loud and clear?
Britain feared that if they negotiated with or recognized Biafra, the federal government would retaliate by nationalizing all British assets in the rest of Nigeria. Moreover, an independent Biafra might have demanded entirely new concession terms, severely cutting into British profits. Securing the concessions. By supporting the FMG to reclaim the eastern region, Britain was effectively underwriting the continuation of the Shell BP oil concessions under the central, pre-existing Nigerian terms. 2. Strategic energy supply, post-Six-Day War. Middle East crisis. The 1967 Six-Day War in the Middle East led to disruptions in the Suez Canal and a temporary oil embargo by some Arab countries against the UK and the US. Nigerian oil as the alternative. This made Nigerian oil, which was geographically secure and had a low sulfur content, a critically important, reliable, and non-Arab source of supply for the British economy. Ensuring flow, the British government was determined to keep Nigerian oil flowing to mitigate its domestic oil shortfalls.
British is ready to keep Nigeria oil following by maintaining what? Operational force that they will use, which is who? The Fulani jihad that are killing people today in Nigeria.
Supporting the FMG was deemed the safest and quickest way to end the war and restore full production under favorable terms. 3. Political strategy. Legitimizing Lagos. Sovereignty principle. The UK's official diplomatic stance was that the conflict was an internal Nigerian affair and that the FMG represented the legitimate, internationally recognized sovereign government of Nigeria. Refusal to legitimize secession. Any negotiation with Biafra over oil, especially involving Shell BP royalty payments, would have constituted a de facto recognition of Biafra's sovereignty. The British government was determined not to grant this legitimacy, as it would undermine their policy of one Nigeria. In short, engaging in oil negotiations with Biafra was a diplomatic red line. It would have jeopardized British investment in the rest of Nigeria, undercut the FMG, their chosen partner, and betrayed the principle of territorial integrity, all while risking their vital oil supply. Their entire policy was designed to ensure Biafra's defeat and the preservation of a unified Nigeria, where their economic interests could be securely maintained.
I hope you listen to this. I don't know if the voice is coming out loud and clear. I don't know, please. Okay, you're welcome. Yes, I form you're welcome. Please, the voice I used to play, is it coming out? Please, can someone help me to confirm? Is it coming out? Yes, okay, okay. God bless you. Okay, thank you so much for that. Now we move.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, refused to negotiate over oil with the Biafran government for several interconnected, critical reasons that centered on protecting British economic and strategic interests in a unified Nigeria.
Nigeria was only unified or great Nigeria through amalgamation because of what? Because of the interest of oil. We want America to hear about this, for them to answer us quickly. We want Russia to hear about this. We want all African organizations, Commonwealth, EU, UN, AU. We want all of you to know the interests of British that made them have, that in the world today, there is a country called Nigeria. There is something they call a country called Nigeria that means a death sentence to every indigenous person. Remember, the interest of British amalgamating Nigeria is not the interest of people are there to live. No. It's interest of them to die so they can be able to take the mineral resources the way they want. This is the only interest of British, to create that thing called one Nigeria that simply means a death sentence. A country being created because of crude oil, palm kernel, cocoyam. These only three things that British saw that make them to amalgamate Nigeria. Said the name of these people are what? You. Because of you have oil, you are Nigeria. You have palm kernel, you are Nigeria. You have cocoyam, you are Nigeria. This is how it happens. So, because all these things, British has already built their company in Niger area where they will use to make and take these things the way they want. The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, refused to negotiate over oil with the Biafra government for several intercontinental criteria reasons that counted on protecting British economy and strategic interests in unifying Nigeria. Do you see why they created Nigeria? Because of what? Oil. And do you know why they refused to negotiate with Nigeria? To negotiate with the Biafra? They cannot take the oil the way they're taking it. By now, people of Ogun that are drinking the unclean water could have clean water today. The people claiming that they are Nigeria, they don't have a road, could have used this oil by now, have a road, if British negotiate with Biafran people. Because Biafra refused to negotiate with British. Even when France come, Philip Effiong, and those are in charge, refused to negotiate with anybody about the interest of the oil. Just grant different recognition. Everything will follow at last. They all refused and they go away. Look at people of those who claim themselves they are Niger Delta. As if they have a good road, do they have light? But if this oil, we are the one controlling it, by now, Bayelsa or Niger Delta could have been one of the most beautiful country in the world. They could have been receiving white man every day, receiving, even many of them in Niger Delta could have married a white woman because of the kind of beautiful thing, the kind of the beautiful atmosphere that area could have been, because that is where everything is being generated from, the crude oil. So because of our people, because of also our people, their own selfish is top notch. It's unacceptable. That is why they never think. What of if we are the one that controlling this oil from 1967 till this day, of 1940 amalgamation till this day? How could, what and what we could have achieved on our own? What and what we could have achieved on our own? Oh, we could have achieved a good road. We could have achieved a good school. We would have achieved a good hospital. And we can also eat 3 square meal in a day. The people of Niger Delta, South, people of they are South, they never think like that. People of Imo State, it's only the Biafran people who knew that we having these things will make us to build one of the most beautiful country and be one of the most strongest, or to be among those that are the top decision makers in the world. They never knew. The same lie that British lied to Sweden, Austria, Canada, Norway, is the same lies they lied to Africa organizations that makes them to pipe low on the issue of Biafra. The question I want to ask them is this. Now, you say that Biafra will generate many more countries in Africa. After you have denied Biafra 1967 to 1970, how many countries come out from Africa? Did they come out from Biafran territory? All these countries today that come out after 1967 to 1970, is it Biafran people that bring them out? I want you African countries, you AU, you UN, you all the countries I tag in here, the organization I tag in here, I want you to see this fat lie. Let me count it for you. After denying Biafra in 1967-1970, a country called Angola emerged in 1975. Our own was being denied totally in 1970. 1975, Angola emerged as a country. 1973, Guinea-Bissau emerged as a country. 1975 again, Mozambique became a country in Africa. Coming down to 1980, Zambia. Coming to 1993, Eritrea. Why that after denying Biafran people their own country, now you now have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are counting this for the international global community to pay attention, to know that the inhuman treatment on us is no longer unacceptable. It's unbearable. What we are passing through is unbearable. What we are passing through is what unbearable. They denied us our own country. British sponsored Nigeria to kill us. You had it here. But they could not be able to sponsor to stop Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Namibia, Mozambique, Zambia, and Eritrea, or etc. These are countries. Namibia got their independence from South Africa in 1990. Mozambique got their own in 1975. Guinea-Bissau in 1973. Angola in 1975. After they have denied us in 1967 to 1970. And these emerged from Africa as countries, and they are in line. So, what is our crime? Our crime is crude oil. Our crime is what? Crude oil. That is our crime that we committed. That is why Biafra is not a country. And because of Biafra is not a country, that is why you are seeing all this ongoing genocide, because Biafra coming could have granted Oduduwa as a nation, Arewa as their own. People of people of Benua can decide what they want. But let there be peace. Let there be security everywhere. Let there be what? Security everywhere. Look at all the countries that come out from Africa. But they went to Africa organization and told them, if you allow Biafra to become a country, they are going to generate many countries in Africa. Many secession. But what of people of Namibia that forced their way out from South Africa? Are they not secession? Africa, rise up. Join Ibrahim Traoré to do the needful. I thank the Prime Minister of Senegal, who refused to go to the meeting, to the summit of France. Macron, the evil, the criminal, the kidnapper, the greedy people, the evil people around us. I want to thank you for towing that line. Join Ibrahim Traoré this time around to build a better Africa. It's in our hand, not in the hands of a white man. A white man only there to press us down. That is why we must join voice with Pan-Africa to start voicing out what we are passing through. I also thank Dr. Masanga for all you do to make sure that the indigenous people grant their rights. Thank you so much for doing that. We'll continue.
The refusal was not about a lack of willingness to negotiate in general, but a steadfast commitment to supporting the Federal Military Government, FMG, in Lagos as the only legitimate authority.
Are you hearing it? The refusal was not about a lack of willingness to negotiate in general, but a steadfast commitment to support the Federal Military Government, FMG, in Lagos as the only legitimate authority. Do you hear that? When they go to Yoruba land, they try to negotiate with them a little bit, with their obas. For our own, nobody. I want you to start seeing something from there. Our own what? Nobody. Let's continue. Here are the primary reasons. Now, here's the reasons that Biafra, that British did what they did to us in the past. Here's the reason.
Here are the primary reasons. 1. Protecting massive oil investment. Shell
Protecting what? Protecting massive oil investment. America, people are dying because of oil investment. Israel, people are dying because of British oil investment. People are dying in Kenya because of Mazda Kano is being kidnapped because of oil investment. Simon Joko is being imprisoned because of what? Oil investment. This is the only reason why. I hope I heard it clearly. Protecting massive oil investment. Listen.
The dominant oil company in Nigeria was Shell BP, a joint venture between the Dutch Royal Dutch Shell and the British Petroleum, which was partly owned by the British government. The location...
Do you hear that? Do you hear it? Yes. I will stand on free Sudan also. Sudan must be free from the white man. The same white man that is holding Sudan down is the one that are holding Biafran people down. I hope you are hearing why British hold us down. My friend from Sudan. The same thing that what we're passing through today. We are passing through the same thing. Because of what? Protecting massive oil investment. Shell BP dominance. Hey, Jesus Christ. Human being is not dominance, but Shell BP is the dominance. The dominant oil company in Nigeria was Shell BP. They have their oil company that dominates every company in our own country. Because of what? Because they are the one holding everything. That is why it's like that. Now, a joint valuation between the Dutch, ruling Dutch shall, and the British Petroleum, which was part owned by the British government. The oil in our land kind of waggy the mineral resources that British are the one in charge of the petroleum. They are in charge of everything. British Petroleum, which was part of owned by the British government. So it is very important that we understand the games that they're playing with us and why Biafra is not a country. Our message is going to Israel, going to America, going to Canada, going to Sweden. We are calling on all of you to listen to this, and you will see more why Biafra is not a country and why the indigenous people are dying day in, day out till today. It's a high time you ask this question and rethink and you find out the lies through the documents of how British stopped our recognition openly. Because of what? Protecting massive oil investments. The location of the oil, the most profile oil field, we are in the eastern region, Biafra. If when you come and write nonsense, you run away. The most profile oil field, we are in the eastern region. Now, no be me talking, no be Simon Eba, no be Mazin and the Kano, no be another person. So that is why it is important that you must understand the area we are coming from. That only solution to what is happening to Nigeria after taking Nigeria a country of particular concern, that the only solution is Biafra recognition on the round table. We have our self-referendum. We have put everything together. That is why we are asking, we are calling on all these countries in the world that we are putting on here. We will continue calling on you. We will continue putting your flag, your names, until you grant us our official international recognition. It is very important. That is the man that is holding us right now. So grant us that as we move.
Of oil. The most prolific oil fields were in the eastern region, Biafra. The total British investment in Nigeria, with Shell BP as the most significant part, was estimated to be around £200 million to £450 million at the time.
Are you hearing it? This is all the reason why Nigeria is being created, because of the interest of what? Shell GP as the most significant part was estimated to be around £200 million to 450 million at that time. Does it matter? This is why they confuse people. This is how they bribe people. When they send you away, they followed you. They now bribe you so you can be able to close your mouth, because they shame God in heaven and the human being. The atrocity of this evil UK will never end. Even though if we get recognition, we will continuously do what we are doing until we get our recognition. We will not stand on the mandate of the Shell BP, and people are dying because of this Shell BP that British handed over to Fulani Caliphate, that today are buying people anyhow. They are telling us to do what? If you like, have over 45 million. None of my business. What it is my business here is that you must grant us recognition. If you mean that you want to save the life of the indigenous people in Nigeria, who are the Christians, if you know, you know. That is why we are asking for recognition, so you can be able to bring all these men out. They have suffered too much. We have suffered too much. We must continue. Remember, this most significant part was estimated to be around 200 million pounds to 450 million pounds at the time, not any longer. So let no one deceive you of where we are. Your government is doing absolutely right, and everything is working, must work the way the Biafran people are expected to be work. Let's continue.
Fear of loss. Britain feared that if they negotiated with or recognized Biafra, the federal government would retaliate by nationalizing all British assets in the rest of Nigeria. Moreover, an independent Biafra might have demanded entirely new concession terms, severely cutting into British profits. Securing the concessions.
I hope you're listening. Fear of lose. British prefer that if they negotiate with or recognize Biafra, the federal government would relate by nationalizing all British assets in the rest of Nigeria. Moreover, an independent Biafra must have demanded Intl Moreover, an independent Biafra might have demanded new conscience terms, several cutting into British profile. Listen, if they recognize Biafra, that the Biafra will stop them from what? From having free to take the mineral resources, being free to take the oil, being free to do what? That Biafra will stop everything they are taking, and their company will collapse down, which is true. Because of the interest of the Shell BP from British or from there, make all the Biafran territory. That is why they are keeping silent till today. That is why the clean are going on, because the mistake is costing life. And the only way to correct this mistake that is costing life is to give power to every indigenous people to, under secession of external, them to have their country, manage themselves. And also, you claim that you give people of Nigeria aid. You are not giving Nigeria any aid. Rather, Nigeria is the one giving UK aid because of our own God-given mineral resources that you are taking every day, morning and night, evening. British, what is our offense? Our offense was of Chukwu give us there. He did not put British there, because if God has put in you where He puts us today, I don't know, you may not be able to go away and start killing people, introducing death to the people, because the way you burn our houses of the Ekmek warrior in 1912, 1913, the same way you and your men is burning our houses today, it never stopped. That is why we are calling on all the women countries to stand up. Let Africa must be free. By recognizing Biafra, then Africa will be free again. But if you refuse to adhere to that, the more calamity will be coming. All that is happening is to prove otherwise. Why Biafra is the only solution. Yeah, that is exactly what is proving. Why that Biafra is what? The only solution into this problem. Because we are going to control our border. Another person will control their own. We are going to have inter-exchange wars. We are going to live in normal. That is what we are asking the world, to grant Biafra international recognition that Mexico to lose the war. We must continue.
By supporting the FMG to reclaim the eastern region, Britain was effectively underwriting the continuation of the Shell BP oil concessions under the central, pre-existing Nigerian terms.
Everything is British. The way they want. Not the way that the indigenous people want their own. Supporting the FMG to reclaim their eastern region. Imagine, Nafana support FMG to reclaim, to take over eastern region. And who are these FMG? the Sokoto Caliphate of Islamization of Nigeria is those that British support, call them FMG, to reclaim the Eastern region because they have lost it to. They have lost it due time of the war because our people never give up. They did not. There is everything that it is important into the movement. We must continue calling on all of you for you to know that you, when you're keeping silent, you are also participating on the same level. You are partaker into this crime of killing Biafran people, UK. That is why your children will rise and ask you for their rights. Why do you take strangers full everywhere? Why are they not getting what they're supposed to get, or rather they're getting a little bit? Your own children will come against you because you have, you UK, you Nigeria have committed a crime. Honestly. But we must understand one thing. That no matter what no matter how British try to support Nigeria, you had it here, securing the secession by supporting the FMG to reclaim the eastern region. British was effectively underwriting the continuation of the Shell GP oil concerns under Central per existing Nigeria items. See, one thing that we want British to know is this: we are not going to come back for any referendum again. We have conducted our own referendum. The only ask us is to give you evidence of everything, we give it to you. But for us to bring it out, no. My people, British, you had it here, that they supported FMG, Nigeria government, is what they supported so much. After all the cry, and people are crying, after everything, look at where it is. Britain only care for economy, only care for money, how to boost their, that is all. They never care about our life at all. They don't even think if we're existing until they do want to do tea. That is how they see us. They see us as people that use and do tea. That is exactly. So anytime they want, they do whatever they want. Because when you have tea in the room, you can feel a small hungry. What happened? You take a spoon, you take it, no matter how. So let us understand why British refused Biafra, but they grant many Africa. I have counted it. They grant how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After they said that we are the one to create more country, when Namibia is fighting to leave, South Africa, why did you not stop them from leaving? Amy, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Why the British did not stop Namibia from leaving from South Africa? Rather, you sanction South Africa to wasting time for allowing Namibia to go. Because you like them. But for the Biafran people, you said no, that you will never try it. That you can't try it with us. So that is why we are calling on all the countries in the continent of this world to look into the lies and propaganda, deceits that British London, UK was. In fact, how they decided through the amalgamation to kill every indigenous people and lie to you that because of how Republican we are in nature, how popular we are, that we are going to get more country in Africa. We and you who lied against us, who created more country in Africa. Why do you allow Ethiopia to be in London when the government is in exile? Why do you allow them? Why also do you allow Angola to be in your country? Why? There is one that we all must know. Our own is quite different. We are that dangerous species. They know how stubborn we are, that we are not going to bow for British as a white man because he does not have 4 heads where we have only one. No. Everything we are doing at this hour, you must pay attention to let the world know from your mouth also that the lies that was being told is not true. That all was happened through British was Purely lies that he liked to blow at all time. My people, let us know that Biafra has been declared and the world must recognize us. Faga Nakokani, right now. So the only thing we have to do is to focus. Be on alert. Because of anything at any time, we know what to do.
2. Strategic energy supply, post-Six-Day War. Middle East crisis. The 1967 Six-Day War in the Middle East led to disruptions in the Suez Canal and a temporary oil embargo by some Arab countries against the UK and the US.
Do you hear this? Strengthen energy supply. The British went ahead to buy more weapons to give Nigeria to fight against Biafra. Even from Turkey, from Russia, they did all of things. But look at it today. Are we not alive? We are alive. Because Kokabiama know that what we are fighting is the right thing. And fully right of the people to do what? To make sure that we live as normal human beings. That is why when British find out that Biafran people will not accept negotiation, they first understand it before the amalgamation of 1914. They already know that we don't bow. That is why we have autonomy. That is why we have Igwes. That is why we have all law. That is why we have people to control on a regular basis. They said no, Nafadi about Romano down. That will not. That is why British went ahead to sponsor foreign caliphate and handed them over to Nigeria, block Biafra recognition, and claiming that Biafran war is an internal affair, not external. We want the world to know that Biafran war is external, not internal. Through this, that you will see how British lied, how British manipulated all of you, and you keep silent. And that genocide happened that we will never forget in our life.
Yes. Nigerian oil as the alternative. This made Nigerian oil, which was geographically secure and had a low sulfur content, a critically important, reliable, and non-Arab source of supply for the British economy. Ensuring flow, the British government was determined to keep Nigerian oil flowing to mitigate its domestic oil shortfalls. Supporting the FMG was deemed the safest and quickest way to end the war and restore full production under favorable terms. 3. Political strategy. Legitimizing Lagos. Sovereignty principle. The UK's official diplomatic stance was that the conflict was an internal Nigerian affair and that the FMG represented the legitimate, internationally recognized sovereign government of Nigeria. Refusal to legitimize secession. Any negotiation with Biafra over oil, especially involving Shell BP royalty payments, would have constituted a de facto recognition of Biafra's sovereignty. The British government was determined not to grant this legitimacy, as it would undermine their policy of one Nigeria. In short, engaging in oil negotiations with Biafra was a diplomatic red line. It would have jeopardized British investment in the rest of Nigeria.
Negotiating with Biafra in oil that is in our own territory, we jeopardize British investment. That is why people answer one Nigeria. Because Biafran people will say no. And we are not going to accept this. That is who we are. And that is why British say no to us. British block every movement that Biafran people make in the world. They block everywhere. Not only that they denied us food, they also block for us to talk to the international global community without even hearing any news at all. We never know that some days for America to come and join us, our leader, our internal experiment called Ojukwu, flew because of his life to Ivory Coast. Because Ivory Coast was one of the countries that in Africa that recognized Biafra as a country then. They never would order the recognition. But time will come when everything will be authentic. Then we will see how everything works. There is one thing that we all must understand. I hope you understand something here today. British refused to negotiate with Biafran people because of what? That Biafran people will not accept anything except to leave the land for them, leave us with our oil. That is what could have happened. And they know they dodge it. They run to go to the caliphate. Those that have destined that their job is to come and kill human beings. And British use them as a killer squad he has. So my people, We must understand the time we are into. We must do a solution of everything. So the world will know why we are fighting for Biafra. Why Biafra is the only solution. Why Biafra will end the ongoing genocide that is going on in Nigeria today. We must listen. And we must do something. We have already seen that they said that our own country will jeopardize their interests of their natural resources and their business. Could you imagine that? The only what British knows for is just this our oil and the mineral resources are coming out from Biafra land. That is what British knows very well. That is only why they have wanted Nigeria. I hope you had it here clear today. I will play without saying a word before we go into next one.
Undercut the FMG, their chosen partner, and betrayed the principle of territorial integrity, all while risking their vital oil supply. Their entire policy was designed to ensure Biafra's defeat and the preservation of
a time that British ensure they design how they are going to defeat Biafra. How do they do it? By one, hunger starvations. Number two, using London use their hand to buy equipment from Turkey, Russia, and give to Nigeria to come and fight Biafran people. Hope you are listening. Because honestly, this British committed a sacrilege. Because their own is worse in time of colonial era. Till today, Nigeria never had an independence. That is why we are fighting to have our own independence. Like we celebrated it last month, November 29, 2025. So everything is all about what? Selfish interest of British. Everything is about their own selfish interest he has. But they never knew that God knows that like time and that will come. He keep those that are going to be here to do the needful. So British, we already know all your plans, and we are bringing it out to the world to know that's why you block Biafra recognition in 1967 to 1970 because of crude oil, palm kernel, and cocoyam. These are three things that made British to deny, swear with their life that Biafra will never be a country. But we are going to mess you up this time around. You will have Biafra become a country. And like I said, the only way to forgive is what? You find out by yourself. We must continue.
Nigeria, where their economic interests could be securely maintained. The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, refused to negotiate over oil with the Biafran government for several interconnected, critical reasons that centered on protecting British economic and strategic interests in a unified Nigeria. The refusal was not about a lack of willingness to negotiate in general, but a steadfast commitment to supporting the federal military government, FMG, in Lagos as the only legitimate authority. Here are the primary reasons. 1. Protecting massive oil investment. Shell BP dominance. The dominant oil company in Nigeria was Shell BP, a joint venture between the Dutch Royal Dutch Shell and the British Petroleum, which was partly owned by the British government. The location of oil, the most prolific oil fields were in the eastern region, Biafra. The total British investment in Nigeria, with Shell BP as the most significant part, was estimated to be around £200 million to £450 million at the time. Fear of loss. Britain feared that if they negotiated with or recognized Biafra, the federal government would retaliate by nationalizing all British assets in the rest of Nigeria. Moreover, an independent Biafra might have demanded entirely new concession terms, severely cutting into British profits. Securing the concessions. By supporting the FMG to reclaim the eastern region, Britain was effectively underwriting the continuation of the Shell BP oil concessions under the central pre-existing Nigerian terms. 2. Strategic energy supply, post-Six-Day War. Middle East crisis. The 1967 Six-Day War in the Middle East led to disruptions in the Suez Canal and a temporary oil embargo by some Arab countries against the UK and the US. Nigerian oil is the alternative. This made Nigerian oil, which was geographically secure and had a low sulfur content, a critically important, reliable, and non-Arab source of supply for the British economy. Ensuring flow. The British government was determined to keep Nigerian oil flowing to mitigate its domestic oil shortfalls. Supporting the FMG was deemed the safest and quickest way to end the war and restore full production under favorable terms. 3. Political strategy, legitimizing Lagos. Sovereignty principle. The UK's official diplomatic stance was that the conflict was an internal Nigerian affair and that the FMG represented the legitimate, internationally recognized sovereign government of Nigeria. Refusal to legitimize secession. Any negotiation with Biafra over oil, especially involving Shell BP royalty payments, would have constituted a de facto recognition of Biafra's sovereignty. The British government was determined not to grant this legitimacy, as it would undermine their policy of one Nigeria. In short, engaging in oil negotiations with Biafra was a diplomatic red line. It would have jeopardized British investment in the rest of Nigeria, undercut the FMG, their chosen partner, and betrayed the principle of territorial integrity, all while risking their vital oil supply. Their entire policy was designed to ensure Biafra's defeat and the preservation of a unified Nigeria where their economic interests could be securely maintained.
I hope you listen to this. Now, listen to why did the British block London block Biafra national recognition in 1960 to 1970. Listen to this.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson's Labour Party, actively worked to block international recognition of Biafra throughout the Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 1970, and until its surrender.
Are you following? The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, Labour Party, actively worked to block international recognition of Biafra through the Nigeria Civil War, 1967 to 1970, through Biafra Civil War, and until it surrenders. They refuse, they block, they see, country is come to help us, so, but because of white versus white, the matter dies like that. The same color, the same speak, don't speak, the matter dies. That is how all these things happen. So, it is very important. That is why we are asking questions. We want to know. We want to know. Let us know why. As we move in, the British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, Labour Party, actively worked to block actively. He's not sleeping. You know when someone is active? Actively work to block international recognition of Biafra throughout the Nigeria Civil War, throughout Biafra Civil War in 1967 to 1970, and until its space right now. So I hope you can have it here. Now the question may be, why do this man work actively to make sure that Biafra recognition did not come? That is where the problem lies.
The main reasons for this staunch opposition were a convergence of economic, strategic, and diplomatic interests that all pointed to the necessity of supporting a unified Federal Republic of Nigeria. 1. The critical oil and economic interest. This was the single most powerful factor, as confirmed by declassified British government documents. Shell BP stake. The vast majority of British investment, and a significant chunk of the UK's oil supply, came from the Nigerian oil fields, many of which were located in the Biafran eastern region. Shell BP, a joint British and Dutch conglomerate, held the largest concession. Fear of nationalisation. The British feared that an independent Biafra would either nationalise the oil assets or impose highly unfavourable new terms, leading to massive financial losses for the UK. Guaranteeing supply. Supporting the federal military government, FMG, in Lagos was seen as the only sure way to guarantee the security of these investments and the continued flow of oil to the UK, which was strategically important, especially following instability in the Middle East oil markets. 2. Strategic and diplomatic precedent. Territorial integrity. As the former colonial power, Britain was deeply committed to the principle of respecting the territorial integrity of its newly independent states. Recognizing Biafra would have set a dangerous precedent that could have encouraged secessionist movements across the Commonwealth and the rest of Africa, leading to widespread instability that could threaten British influence. The Commonwealth. Britain valued Nigeria as a large, influential, and stable member of the Commonwealth. Allowing Nigeria to fracture into smaller, less powerful states was seen as undermining the entire Commonwealth structure and British prestige in the region. Cold War alignment. The UK was concerned that if they had stopped supplying arms to the federal government, the Soviet Union would step in to become Lagos's sole backer. This would have shifted a key former colonial territory firmly into the Soviet sphere of influence, a significant loss in the context of the Cold War. 3. Diplomatic counteroffensive. Blocking at the UNOAU, London used its considerable diplomatic influence to ensure that the conflict remained classified as an internal Nigerian affair at the United Nations and other international bodies. This successfully prevented any binding UN resolution that might have intervened or called for the recognition of Biafra. OAU consensus. Britain was aligned with the Organization of African Unity, OAU, which strongly opposed Biafra's secession to uphold the principle of respecting colonial borders, a position shared by nearly all African states fearful of their own internal ethnic divisions. In essence, British foreign policy was based on realpolitik. Their decision to block recognition and supply arms to the FMG was a calculated move to protect key national economic and strategic assets by ensuring a speedy victory for the unified Nigerian state.
Honestly, when I listen to this, I feel very bad. When I listen to this particular document of why British London single-handedly blocked Biafra recognition in everywhere, both in Africa, just because of selfish interests of oil economy. That is why we are letting the world to know. And when after reading this document, and I now ask myself, oh, so this is exactly what Tafawa Balewa, the first prime minister of Nigeria, saw in 1948, and he said that Nigeria is not a country, that British has tried because of their economic interest to manage us together, but because the people are from different backgrounds, it can never be managed. And he said that if the generation that are back of them refuse to adhere to that instruction, that Nigeria will be the most worst area in the world. Before Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, today Nigeria, is it not the most worst area in the world? This is a word from those who are the grandfather of Nigeria. They say it's not a country. That experiment of British getting richer and richer every day is not working. That is why everything is going one side. Please like and share the program, please. Let's play it again before we analyze, because why I'm playing for them to hear the English, to understand it very well.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson's Labour Party, actively worked to block international recognition of Biafra throughout the Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 1970, and until its surrender. The main reasons for this staunch opposition were a convergence of economic, strategic and diplomatic interests that all pointed to the necessity of supporting a unified Federal Republic of Nigeria. 1. The critical oil and economic interest. This was the single most powerful factor, as confirmed by declassified British government documents. Shell BP stake. The vast majority of British investment, and a significant chunk of the UK's oil supply, came from the Nigerian oil fields, many of which were located in the Biafran eastern region. Shell BP, a joint British and Dutch conglomerate, held the largest concession. Fear of nationalisation. The British feared that an independent Biafra would either nationalise the oil assets or impose highly unfavourable new terms, leading to massive financial losses for the UK. Guaranteeing supply. Supporting the federal military government, FMG, in Lagos was seen as the only sure way to guarantee the security of these investments and the continued flow of oil to the UK, which was strategically important, especially following instability in the Middle East oil markets. 2. Strategic and diplomatic precedent. Territorial integrity. As the former colonial power, Britain was deeply committed to the principle of respecting the territorial integrity of its newly independent states. Recognizing Biafra would have set a dangerous precedent that could have encouraged leading to widespread instability that could threaten British influence. The Commonwealth. Britain valued Nigeria as a large, influential and stable member of the Commonwealth. Allowing Nigeria to fracture into smaller, less powerful states was seen as undermining the entire Commonwealth structure and British prestige in the region. Cold War alignment. The UK was concerned that if they had stopped supplying arms to the federal government, the Soviet Union would step in to become Lagos's sole backer. This would have shifted a key former colonial territory firmly into the Soviet sphere of influence, a significant loss in the context of the Cold War. 3. Diplomatic counteroffensive. Blocking at the UNOAU, London used its considerable diplomatic influence to ensure that the conflict remained classified as an internal Nigerian affair at the United Nations and other international bodies. This successfully prevented any binding UN resolution that might have intervened or called for the recognition of Biafra. OAU consensus. Britain was aligned with the Organization of African Unity, OAU, which strongly opposed Biafra's secession to uphold the principle of respecting colonial borders, a position shared by nearly all African states fearful of their own internal ethnic divisions. In essence, British foreign policy was based on realpolitik. Their decision to block recognition and supply arms to the FMG was a calculated move to protect key national economic and strategic assets by ensuring a speedy victory for the unified Nigerian state.
Please, if you never like this program, please don't know what you're still waiting for. If it is your first time coming, or come across of this page, there is a 3 dots on top of your screen. Just look at it. You will see a 3 dots on your right hand side. This is what I'm pointing out on top of your screen. You will see like. You will see, just touch that 3 dots. You will, once it touch it and it will open, you will see like and share. Then share, subscribe this on this. You know, let me start from somewhere here. Very quick before I forget it. You see, that is the same way British played in 1970 into UN, OAU. It's the same thing they are playing today. How? British is the one that told Nigeria to see themselves that if they don't interfere in this matter of the genocide of Christians that are dying or Donald Trump to come, that the problem is still internal affair of Nigeria. That is why Donald Trump may not come. That is why Donald Trump may not come. Because they said that this is internal affair of Nigeria. The same thing they did in 1970, that London precisely blocked Ojukwu movement on OAU and the organization. London used its considerable diplomatic influence to ensure that the conflict remains classified as an internal affair, as an internal Nigeria affair at the United Nations and the other international bodies. You know, that is why we are letting world to know that our agitation or our declaration of self-determination is under external, not under internal. Even on top of external, that you call secession that leads to independence outright from this Nigeria-British amalgamation. That is why the Biafran people had made full declaration. Look at it here. They have told the world that the ongoing genocide in Nigeria is internal affair of Nigeria. The same way they told America in 1970. The same way all of you that are tagging in here today, when I have checked history, all of you was having interest about Biafra to save the life. Even Sweden, Canada, Australia, America, Israel, Russia. Even this this France we are seeing today. France did not start today in what they are doing in Africa today. It's been long. And it's only France and Britain are the colonial master who has never left Africa alone. It's only 2 of them. Portugal has gone. Belgium disappeared. Italy disappeared. Germany disappeared. All these are no longer believed to colonize anybody anymore, but British continue. So that is why when we are calling for the solution to what is going on in Nigeria is only granting United State of Biafra recognition and give us things to defend ourselves. It is okay. They told you here that if they stop sponsoring weapon to Nigeria as a country, that the Soviet Union will intervene and stop the matter. That is things they refuse to, because they know where we are going right now, that it might implicate them. So British till today continuously dancing this evil dance. That's why we are not calling British for recognition. No, we call on America, we call Russia, we call Israel, we call Canada, Sweden, name many of them like that, Angola. We call all of you to know that British lied to all of you. Because after Biafra has failed to become a country, after they denied us, finally in 1967, then Angola, you got your independence or your movement starting from 1975, when they banished our own. Now, Guinea-Bissau, 1973 to 1974. Mozambique, 1975. These are countries that comes after British told the world that recognizing Biafra will bring secession up in Africa. So Angola is not secession. Guinea-Bissau is not what? Secession. Mozambique is not what? Secession. Namibia, 1980 is not what? Secession. Eritrea, 1993 is not what? Secession. These are those. And what? Those that have got their recognition or being a country after they denied us and lied to us. Now, who generated all these 5 or 6? 1, 2, look at it as I'm counting. Look at it here. Countries that are after Biafra, they failed to get recognition. They get recognition. They are what? This is, let us start from here. They are what? Angola, 1975. Guinea-Bissau, 1973. Mozambique, 1975. Namibia, 1990, etc. 1993. These are the countries that has marched from Africa. After British lied, London blocked our recognition and lied to the world that we are people that were going to bring trouble. That, oh my God, what is all about? What is our offense? Is what I'm still asking Britain, London. Chai. But we must continue. We must continue.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson's Labour Party, actively worked to block international recognition of Biafra throughout the Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 1970, and until its surrender.
I hope I heard it clearly. The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson, Labour Party, actively worked to block international recognition of Biafra throughout the Biafra-Nigeria Civil War. Look at it. They already it Nigeria Civil War. Are we not the one that Nigeria fought us? Instead of writing Biafra Civil War, they still want to maintain that it is internal. We are letting the world to know that the movement of Biafra and who we are is no longer an internal affair of Nigeria. No, it is external. Now that we have re-declared Biafra and we have our government that is effective, working assiduously to achieve peaceful, diplomatic, political recognition. That is where we are right now. That is how we are doing it. So, it is a high time. It is a high time. You are welcome. Easy way. You are welcome. Thank you so much. Please, as we are going, our line is also open in case if anybody want to call. You are free to call on the program to lay your voice out and whatever you think into what we are doing. It is. I hope you have heard it clearly that London Prime Minister Harold Wilson Labour Party is actively work to block international recognition. Imagine. So, we continue.
The main reasons for this staunch opposition were a convergence of economic, strategic, and diplomatic interests that all pointed to the necessity of supporting a unified Federal Republic of Nigeria. 1. The critical oil and economic interests.
Remember, they are doing all these things to do what? To unify Nigeria. Nigeria is one country, that the Biafran war is genocide. There is no genocide. What happened there is internal affair of Nigeria. We are proving to the world. America, Israel, what happened in 1970 to 1970 is not internal affair at all. It's by of the indigenous people. Okay. Because of oil interest, because of selfish interest of Britain. That is why people are dying today, because that mistake of doing the amalgamation was the center point of all the killings that are happening today. Because if there's no amalgamation, that people were living the good life, better life, there was living, no police, no army, they control themselves. If something happening in the community, the man will come out and know what is the problem today, what is happening. Men are inside room, while women are looking for what is happening. I want us to know one thing, that our government of the United States of Biafra are doing absolutely right and well. So we must continue. As you may understand it, the main reason for this staunch opposition, Okay. The main staunch is all about for them to protect British interests in oil. That is only main reason why the British used their hands, so went and blocked what? Biafra international recognition. That is the main reason why. And when this life does not matter, what matters is oil. America, this thing they call one Nigeria, that they simply means death sentence to every indigenous person, was not meant good for us. It was only meant to take things that belong to us away. Please, allow Biafrans to go. We have already left Nigeria the way it is, but we are seeking for international recognition, that we will use the power to possess our country and protect everybody before America starts even talking. And now Africa is trying to build Africa through those that understand the stage where Biafran people are today, and also we are proving to the world that we are good to go. It's part of it. I want to know that the strategic and diplomatic interests that all pointed to the necessary of supporting a unified federal Republic of Nigeria. Why the British continuously unifying them, supporting them, because of what? British thought that they could have wiped us away. British thought that they could have wiped us away. We never know that people like us will be here today. So, everything, we have to do it. The critical oil and the economy in interest. Nothing more than that. Only because of what? Oil and the economy interest of crude oil, palm kernel, and the coconut, cocoyam. That is the next level. That is the next level that things are moving into. On this level of this oil, crude oil, palm kernel, cocoyam. These three things is why people answer one Nigeria. That is the interest of British to use our mineral resources. A thing is small every day. Before you know it, everything is okay. Let the world know the interest why there is a Nigeria, then them call Nigeria, that's not supposed to have territorial integrity, because Nigeria is a death sentence to every indigenous person in Nigeria today. You don't have right to talk. Even come on protest. President came here, the military will open fire. You saw it 3 days ago. They kill women that are protesting. They open fire on them. That is how they normally do. That is how they do their own thing. Look at a country like that. Do Tinubu care about what's going on there? The answer is no. He only care the income that are coming to his pockets every day. That is what, borrowing money here and there, creating avenue to collect money from people more and more without doing anything. Is it where animal live or where human being live? Child, America, please remove us from this. We have removed ourselves by making our official declaration, and I knew that our official declaration document is in your office. Grant us this recognition, then leave Nigeria for us. We will deal with Nigeria the way that the manner that they can all of them can go down on their knees to beg us. Please grant us recognition. Recognize United States of Biafra. If you know that you want people, Biafra, their life to be saved, it is very important.
This was the single most powerful factor, as confirmed by...
Miss Reco, let me know if I have a phone call. Yes, so easy way. Good morning from here.
Biafra TV. Good morning from my side.
Good morning. It's been long. Thank you so much for
coming.
coming.
My brother, it has been long. Imam, here can take Bakutente, and I took there.
Yeah.
I don't man on a background. Even this morning, about I'm no gay, because I give a meeting up, he gave program as so I was listening to it. They carried away. I was okay, the baton line. But all the same, we move. My brother, I say, na Emma, Udegina, Denam Banine, based on Hina Kuzi. Now we have known that I am in a right track. Yeah. So the only thing you should know, Bunda, if I say this and that, respect. Because if you watch now what is happening, that if you I'm at the meaning of Akachukudia.
Exactly.
The meaning of Akachukudia. Because if you watch now, like all these congressmen there are Nigeria, we not prove before. Nigeria
yes, now.
Konaha, like in case Finland, they are Konaya, but I just say every head on a general report to the Synod, the way the Prime Minister. So that is the thing is signal. Chineke na roll mgbe and they do for here na esigina obuna the international amaho ihe ha kwesịrị ime na this situation even na ha bụ ndị asị because as it is now so obodo mụ na gị siri wee pụta ka ikpogodie ya Finland this country nọ now obodo mụ na gị siri wee pụta so that local government carry their population when have a country.
Yes, now.
So if you jide 3 nations, but you jide 3 nations back all his own.
Not 3. Yeah, 4 nations. 4 nations. 4.
Okay, 4. Okay, ndị ha dị ikwu ihe a na culture anyị na ha bụrụ ofu gị na ha na-eme ofu ihe, gị na ha na-ebiagburu ha jide ha pakọ ha isi ọnụ. Ị na-asị m na ndị a amaghị ihe ha na-eme. They know what they are doing, but the only thing bụ na efu movement ya na-eme now, odogo egwu na ọkụkọ anya datara. The only thing ga solve problem of all this bụ gịnị? The disintegration of that country. That is the only thing. Ndị watch ya now. Iji gwa gị na ndị a ma ihe ha na-eme anyị ka anyị jiri nwụzighị ọnụ okwu. Mana asị m ya debere all this our top men kwesịrị ịdị na-ekwutere anyị ọnụ anyị, maka ha na-abụ ha nara ha n'ego azụ a. Ọkwa ifiri ihe mere n'ngige, ọkwa ifiri ihe mere.
Go and serve Nigeria, come back in shame now.
That is the okwu Maazị Nnamdi Kanu. Emere Malami like that. Emere Malami like that.
No.
Emere Malami like that. Mana ife that ka esi wee kparị ngige. Ọkwa ịgotago, ọ ya bụ ya ha na-ekwu gịnị. Okay, ọkwa ifiri ihe mere Obi Kubana na Abuja. Obi ihe ha fụrụ. All these people bụ gị mgbe a na-agwa ha bịanụ ka because ọ bụrụ na onye ọbụla jikọta ọnụ mgbe ị na-eti sef na-enye onwe gị nsogbu, ịma na otu ịpụrụ nke ọ bụ ịghọtago. When ha jere feel that ha adịgo comfortable with Nigeria. Now Nigeria na-etizi ha mmanwụ. Ihe a na-eme ihe a na-abụ gịnị ka anyị etigo onye ọbụla ụjọ ahụ n'ahụ. Okay, look at ndị pụtara egere m nonsense a o ji ụzọ Kalu kwuru na-ekwugheri si were flag enwere na-ajụ this man ọṅụrụ kai mgbe a na-ebe were flag pụta akpa ya ndị ọbụla ọ dọghọ mgbe ahụ nwaanyị na ọ na-ekwu okwu na-aka ọ mazi na ya were flag wee pụta. Okele ndị ji kọmọn akwụkwọ nkịtị wee pụta na kwadagbawa ka ya mere ejide ha gwe ha ka egbere ihe. Ị na-asị ịgwa ndị a sị na ha bụ ndị ihe n'isi dị ha mma. Afụgburu m obodo a na-eji egbe na-ebugharị ya ka a na-ebugharị. Mgbe eji webi obodo a nọ afụbeghị egbe anya, afụbe enyokọtara ka mfu egbe afụbeghị egbe. When I look at na be anyị every corner a na-ebugharị egbe. Ihe afụ onye si na ya bụ efọs o buru egbe bata n'ime ahịa na-atagharị. Na my brother ajọzọ sị ka nwere opportunity ya wetara n'ụtụtụ a dute ihe ọdụ maka na ozi ọma ị na-agbasa ọ na-aba and Chineke ga-egozi gị jisie ike ka e were na-eme ịghọtago. Emechaa resef agba m mgbe ị ga-enwe ohere echi ka anyị kpara dị private. Okay. Echi mba akpọ gị private.
Echi my off.
Okay, iwu ha na ohere kpọọ bụ adọm ya tuworo. Nwa ahụ ka ọ nwere ya chọrọ ka anyị kparakwa. Ngwa jisie ike.
Yes, my people. That is onye bụ ka a na-eme. Now when call comes in, we pick up the call, we continue. We want to establish it to the world, let them know why British till today still holding Nigeria. And you, that you are not benefiting anything from British holding Nigeria, taking our mineral resources and giving it on themselves. You giving us recognition might give you the next option or next privilege to do what? To enjoy with us. Because our leader, Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, our president, Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, the president of Biafra, has made it openly that Biafra will give this crude oil free to those who want it. He make it official. Obatobie, the prime minister, also said that we are going to build a brain-based country, not oil country. That means we are going to give this oil free. We want to prove to Nigeria that you don't need oil to survive in this 21st century. You just need one or two things to survive. One of the most important area things that we want people to know Yes, I see you, Amy. I see you. Thank you so much for coming. I see Ben. I see Christy Biafra. Thank you so much. I see Time Good One. You're welcome. Thank you. We are debunking that lies that British told the world against us. America, what's British, UN, EU, Commonwealth, or African organization? Have you seen it clearly right now? That when British told you that Biafran recognition will bring me secession, my question is, it's not after Biafra that Angola comes out. It's not after Biafra that Guinea-Bissau come out. It's not after Biafra denying us that Mozambique come outside. It's not after us that Namibia. What of Zambia? What of Eritrea? All these countries they came out after they have denied us our own. And all these people that come out at last, who created them? Where do they have the exile government? Many of them have exile government in London. Because of what? They don't have the level of mineral resources you have. That is why they are a free nation. But you that God create and give mineral resources, everything is against us. That is why we must stand up and take it by force. We have made our official declaration once again, seeking for international recognition. The world grant us this recognition so that the Biafran people will help to make the world a better place. We are the one to make it a better place with America, with all of you who have a good heart, who value human rights, to prove that Nigeria must value the human rights. If people want to still remain as one Nigeria, we are not against it. So I did not see why you are against me. Because if I call with flag that I want my own country. You must continue.
A declassified British.
Like I said, our line is open in case if anybody want to call, you can call us and submit. Like our brother Izzy will just finish right now.
Government documents. Shell BP stake. The vast majority of British investment and a significant chunk of the UK's oil supply came from the Nigerian oil fields, many of which were located in the Biafran eastern region. Shell BP, a joint British and Dutch conglomerate, helped.
Many of them, of this oil, come from Biafra land. Do you hear it? Many of this oil come from where? Biafra land. So, it's good. It's a high time. It is a high time that we are not going to accept this inhuman treatment anymore. That is why we have to lay our voice with the voice of Master and the voice of Master Simon Eba, for the world to hear that they denied us our own country. After denying Biafran people, they created Moses country. That's is again what they said our own is going to recession. Now is for you to know that it's pure lie. America, Canada, Sweden, Israel. It's not about territorial integrity. It is about oil and the economic interests of British. And because of the so greedy that British is, that is why, without knowing, they already build an company and keep. So, it is very important that we understand the situation where we are. And it's a high time we use what we have also to get what we want. We have infiltrated government that can undo for the Biafran people on the right track, not on the bad side. So I am urging all of us to continuously doing what? Supporting United States of Biafra for only hope. For only hope for every black race in this world. That is why they knew. And they also told you that they refused to grant the recognition because we are going to make it difficult for them to negotiate. My people, let us continue. Remember, there was the single moment powerful factor as confirmed by disclassifying British government document. Shell BP stake, the vast minority of British involvement, and a significant chunk of the UK oil supply came from the Nigeria oil field. There is countries in the world that UK is supplying oil. Where this oil is coming from? They told you here, Papa and Plain, that this oil is being located at Biafra, eastern region. Then the shale will collapse. Nothing concern me there. So when you see their movements in the way they are doing things and what they put on us, you will see how hatred. You will see that the only today, that is why they are not even talking. What happened before has continued happening again. What are those things? Shying away from the truth, trying to use lie, propaganda, deceit to deceive people of the world. That is why we are calling on all of you on our headline today. Please come and grant us recognition so the Biafran people will live. Then we will do things in our own way to prove to the world how prepared we are. It's not just using mouth. It is about showcasing its right that people have the right to live despite the interest of oil and gas. My people, these people really mean us. It's also a high time we meet them, because once we meet them, they will know that yes, they already know everything. This is what you want to move out with. My document. Child. The document that British have in our life is death sentence. Because of what? If you not allow them to take oil, film, you are gone. That is why they created Nigeria under gun and bullets. That is why we said in this 2025 that the meaning of one Nigeria is a death sentence to every indigenous person. The meaning of one Nigeria is death sentence to every indigenous person. That is how you be addressing Nigeria. Because their master, their boss, London, is there doing the job for them while we are trying to make everything right. Shell BP stake, the vast majority of this check on this UN oil supply came from Nigeria oil field. Now, did Nigeria have oil field? The answer is no. Listen, see their lie, you. This is how they are lying. The UK oil supply came from the Nigeria oil field. Network. Why the network hang me out? The network just hang me out. What's happened? Network just hang me out. don't know if we are back because network just threw away me from the screen. Can someone hear me out? Can someone confirm that we are back? Network just moved me out. Network. Can someone confirm that I'm live here? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Network just rubbish everything. I thank God we are connected back. I hope my voice is coming out loud and clear. Okay. Amy, thank you so much. That is network. So let us continue from where we stop. This was the single moment powerful. This was the sign most powerful factor as confirmed by disclassified British government document. Now, Shell BP stake, the vast majority of British investments and the significant check of the UK oil supply came from the Nigeria oil field. Came from where? Nigeria oil field. For the countries in the world that UK today, imagine UK are the ones they supplying some countries oil. UK is the one supplying many countries oil. Now I want you to know, because of this oil that UK is killing us, because of this oil that UK handed Nigeria over for them to kill every indigenous person. Remember, there is no oil in the north too, but they handed the issue of oil to the hands of the Franco Caliphate. Go to the so-called Niger Delta. They are the one with the every oil pipeline. They are the owners. Go and check. So we want the world to know that people are dying in Nigeria because of the mistake, because of the greedy, because of the envy, because of the jealousness, because of only interest of oil. There is three things that people are answering Nigeria today. Those three things are because they discover oil and remain silent as if that was not the main intention of creating one Nigeria in 1914. Do you know what happened? They claim in the document that they first see palm kernel, the second they see cocoyam, the third one they see oil. But the oil is one of the most largest thing that grows the economy. And what happened? They start planning amalgamation. They don't want people that's all these those who claim they are Nigerians to believe that it's because of the oil. The British lie low. After the amalgamation, they now take over everything. Look at them here. Listen to this. The UK oil supply came from the Nigeria oil field, many of which were located in the Biafran eastern region. Pop and plain. This oil was located where Biafra eastern region. Then I am asking you, what American congressmen and all the people that are taking movement to Nigeria, have you reached to southeast? Is it anything to proving that oil is coming from southeast? Sorry, 1 minute. Is it anything that is proving that this oil is from southeast? Now, are you not seeing evidence? I see that the oil is from north, and the British are the one that this oil is in their land. Only that the British has tried lay pipe now from Imo State down to they have passed Morocco, they beheading. And to God know, British, in fact, UK want to make that the oily from with pipe are coming out from their own land this time around. That is why Fulani, that is why movement of Islamization is going on and they are not talking. What of Irish people? Are they talking? The answer is no, because they are very wicked, heartless people. They are very wicked, they are heartless. Because of interest, that I want to be rich. You know, if I will tell you that British was the one who introduced our people in about money ritual, you won't believe it. Because that is exactly what British did. You know, when a man wants to do ritual, the only interest he has is all about money. To British himself. That is exactly who British is. So British was the one that introduced money ritual to the world. Because they use people's property to enrich themselves and suppress those people down. That's why we are fighting for Biafra outright from Nigeria, so we can build our own beautiful country and live in there. And we are not here for propaganda. We are not attacking anybody, but we are bringing you facts and figures. I saw a comment before from our brother Emeka. He said, just look at Liberia, is 5 million people. Imagine. And when we conduct our self-referendum vote, over 50 million people. Over 50 million. Whether you like it or not. So, the main thing is this. That's the interest. That is why we are letting the world to know why British allow the killing that is going on in Biafra land today. Michelle, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. It's been long, but we are here because of our time. We understand it. Just the only thing I know that every day, check out on our previous video, you will see that if we have done program. So please, whenever you come across our program, you know it's important that you will like and share the program, please. Let it go viral. We want America to know why we are dying. We want them to know why Nigeria is being created. Nigeria is not created a country that did not being created because of the interest of the people, rather, interest of a white man with oil. Thank you so much, Francis. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Because people said we have a government that the interest of this government is for people to live a good life. But the interest of British to amalgamate Nigeria is because of their own selfish interest of oil and gas, of crude oil, cocoyam, and other things that are involved. Our life, it does not matter. It's not their concern. It's not their interest. What is the interest of the British for creating Nigeria? Oil, cocoyam, and palm kernel. These are three things they say that, oh, people that has it, they are going to be highest resources. And they went ahead and created Nigeria. Not to our interest does not care. Our opinion does not care. What cares most is that British want to enrich themselves. That's what cares most to them. Like I said, our number to call is still open. In case, if you decide to call us. She goes, you're welcome. She goes, okay. You're welcome. In case you want to call, the number to call remain plus 973360513337. I call it again, plus 973360513337. In case only on WhatsApp. In case you want to call us and submit your own submission, is allowed.
Of the largest concession. Fear of nationalization. The British feared that an independent Biafra would either nationalize the oil assets or impose highly unfavorable new terms, leading to massive financial losses for the UK.
Do you hear it? They think that if they negotiate with Biafran people about the oil, that's not negotiating with Biafran people, that they are going to lose so much money. They say no. That negotiating with Fulani Caliphate will allow them to gain more interest. Everything is about them because they have granted them what they want and they give him and he gives them what they want. So when you sit down, listen to such a news, what came into your mind? What? Yes, it's because of the same truth, or that is only why Nigeria is still a country to today. That is the only reason. So please, as you join me, please, may you like and share the program, please. Like and share the program. It's very important. If you never subscribe, please subscribe on our YouTube page. Turn your notification on. We are coming live every day. Even if you spend 2 hours, 3 hours, we always do that. Please. Please. Endeavor to do that. They believe that negotiating with Biafran people will make them to lose more gain, more than what they are gaining now is in the hand of the Fulani Sokoto Caliphate. These are pure truth that we must, that this is untold truth that we have to let the world know. That the genocide is going on is being caused by Britain. The genocide that is going on today in Nigeria and the Biafra land is being caused by who? By Nigeria. Why we are giving you these voices for you to know and understand this very well. Because of the intonation. Please, listen to this.
Guaranteeing supply, supporting the federal military government, FMG in Lagos, was seen as the only sure way to guarantee the security of these investments and the continued flow of oil to the UK, which was strategically important, especially following instability in the Middle East oil markets. 2. Strategic and diplomatic precedent. Territorial integrity. As the former colonial power, Britain was deeply committed to the principle of respecting the territorial integrity of its newly independent states. Recognizing Biafra would have set a dangerous precedent that could have encouraged secessionist movements across.
No, he's going to send a dangerous message to the world that Biafra recognition will bring more countries in the world, in Africa. Whereas after they denied us, they used their hand to bring this country. In which year? 1975. 1972, 1975 again. 1975 again, another country. 1990, 1999. After denying Biafra and told, oh, if you raise Biafra, minister secession will come. Let me ask you, in 1990, from Namibia to South Africa, from South Africa to Namibia, is it not a secession group movement? Eritrea is not a secession movement. What is it that you have done in the past for us to do our own? It becomes a crime. I want our people to understand that the only option we have right now is to support United States of Biafra government to make sure that we grab this recognition that we are looking for. It is very important. It is very important because everything that is happening, there is a reason why. So, we must continue to stand as the Biafran people at all time. I want to play it again without saying a word so you can understand before we put small touches on it anymore. So please listen.
The Commonwealth and the rest of Africa, leading to widespread instability that could threaten British influence. The Commonwealth. Britain valued Nigeria as a large, influential, and stable member of the Commonwealth. Allowing Nigeria to fracture into smaller, less powerful states was seen as undermining the entire Commonwealth structure and British prestige in the region.
British.
Cold War alignment. The UK was concerned that if they had stopped supplying arms to the federal government, the Soviet Union would step in to become Lagos's sole backer. This would have shifted a key former colonial territory firmly into the Soviet sphere of influence, a significant loss in the context of the Cold War. 3. Diplomatic counteroffensive. Blocking at the UNOAU, London used its considerable diplomatic influence to ensure that the conflict remained classified as an internal Nigerian affair at the United Nations and other international bodies. This successfully prevented any binding UN resolution that might have intervened or called for the recognition of Biafra. OAU consensus. Britain was aligned with the Organization of African Unity, OAU, which strongly opposed Biafra's secession to uphold the principle of respecting colonial borders, a position shared by nearly all African states fearful of their own internal ethnic divisions. In essence, British foreign policy was based on realpolitik. Their decision to block recognition and supply arms to the FMG was a calculated move to protect key national economic and strategic assets by ensuring a speedy victory for the unified Nigerian state.
Sorry, somebody have an emergency visitor, but that person go. I'm on program, please. So, my people, why we are playing this is due to the extent of London on their these people they did a lot of things to us. That UK used their hand to be doing diplomatic job for Nigeria. Diplomatic job, a counter offensive. Blocking at the UN, they block it. Now we're asking UN, are Nigeria, are they going to see block us again after America has sent congressmen to go and force in Nigeria that makes America to declare, to put Nigeria on a country of particular concern? And the most painful part of this thing is this. The same thing you told us that leads to external secessional independency is what leads to designate Nigeria into a country of particular concern. Now, what are those things? Is the killing that is going on right now. Is it not what have been happened before Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, Philip Efong, and every other Genu Biafra then stand up and make a declaration of Biafra then? And they block it, call it internal affair. Today, is it going to still be internal affair again? Is it going to be that we are going to create more countries in Africa? Then who created Eritrea in Africa from Ethiopia? Who created Namibia in 1990? Who created Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau? Who are those that give them power now, make them a country? After our own fell in 1970, after from that 1970, about 10 countries was being created in Africa in general. But our own is no to you people because of what? Mineral resources that you know that this mineral resources will not end. So because it's not going to end, you are going to end human being again for the second time. We are not calling for that. That is why we stood up on our own, make our official declaration to the entire world to know that we are not going to continue in this way anymore. I will play it more once again before next action we will take.
The British government, led by Prime Minister Harold Wilson's Labour Party, actively worked to block international recognition of Biafra throughout the Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 1970, and until its surrender. The main reasons for this staunch opposition were a convergence of economic, strategic, and diplomatic interests that all pointed to the necessity of supporting a unified Federal Republic of Nigeria. 1. The critical oil and economic interest. This was the single most powerful factor, as confirmed by declassified British government documents. Shell BP stake. The vast majority of British investment and a significant chunk of the UK's oil supply came from the Nigerian oil fields, many of which were located in the Biafran eastern region. Shell BP, a joint British and Dutch conglomerate, held the largest concession. Fear of nationalization. The British feared that an independent Biafra would either nationalize the oil assets or impose highly unfavorable new terms, leading to massive financial losses for the UK. Guaranteeing supply, supporting the federal military government, FMG in Lagos, was seen as the only sure way to guarantee the security of these investments and the continued flow of oil to the UK, which was strategically important, especially following instability in the Middle East oil markets. 2. Strategic and diplomatic precedent. Territorial integrity. As the former colonial power, Britain was deeply committed to the principle of respecting the territorial integrity of its newly independent states. Recognizing Biafra would have set a dangerous precedent that could have encouraged secessionist movements across the Commonwealth and the rest of Africa, leading to widespread instability that could threaten British influence. The Commonwealth. Britain valued Nigeria as a large, influential, and stable member of the Commonwealth. Allowing Nigeria to fracture into smaller, less powerful states was seen as undermining the entire Commonwealth structure and British prestige in the region. Cold War alignment. The UK was concerned that if they had stopped supplying arms to the federal government, the Soviet Union would step in to become Lagos's sole backer. This would have shifted a key former colonial territory firmly into the Soviet sphere of influence, a significant loss in the context of the Cold War. 3. Diplomatic counteroffensive. Blocking at the UNOAU. London used its considerable diplomatic influence to ensure that the conflict remained classified as an internal Nigerian affair at the United Nations and other international bodies. This successfully prevented any binding UN resolution that might have intervened or called for the recognition of Biafra. OAU consensus. Britain was aligned with the Organization of African Unity, OAU, which strongly opposed Biafra's secession to uphold the principle of respecting colonial borders, a position shared by nearly all African states fearful of their own internal ethnic divisions. In essence, British foreign policy was based on realpolitik. Their decision to block recognition and supply arms to the FMG was a calculated move to protect key national economic and strategic assets by ensuring a speedy victory for the unified Nigerian state.
I hope you are listening to this. The fellow Africans, have you seen the lie that a white man, prime minister, and their governor lied to all of you in the past? And this lie is what is causing what Nigeria is passing through today. This lie is why there is no good road, there is no hospital, there is nothing good. If you can exercise your patience, you will see a good road, a good life, a good hospital. You will see free education. You will see 24 hours life you never seen you in our time. That is why you standing on the side of Biafra is the main issue. Now, when I said it's not only because of oil that British do the amalgamation. Without oil, they could do the amalgamation because they see something that is equally square to the oil. Everything that's made to this question of this thing called one Nigeria is because of one interest of a white man. Not interest, that is why it's not a country, because the country did not amalgamate under the interest of the people, rather in the interest of the economy booster of a white man from London, from UK. That is the reason why. I don't know how our people we listen to this. But let me prove to you, despite the oil, if there is no oil, there is another two things that will make British to do the same amalgamation, because they have studied all around. The first one they saw and the last one. Our number is still open in case if anyone want to call us, we are free to call. Now listen more to this.
That is a hypothetical scenario, but the answer remains, yes, the British would still have amalgamated Nigeria in 1914. While the existence of palm oil in the east and south and cocoa in the west
Palm oil and
provided the
cocoa
revenue that funded the amalgamation, the core reason for the union was administrative and financial burden sharing, not the resources themselves.
Because
The
of
fundamental
financial
problem, without resources.
to share
If the
it.
entire territory had minimal natural resources, the core logic for amalgamation would have been even stronger. 1. Cutting administrative costs. Northern deficit. The Northern Protectorate was massive, difficult to administer, due to logistics and resistance after military conquest, and constantly ran a financial deficit. It required subsidies, a grant in aid, from the British Treasury in London to survive. Southern cost. The Southern Protectorate also required its own, separate, expensive administration. The unification solution. Lord Lugard in the Colonial Office saw maintaining two separate, deficit-running protectorates as an economically wasteful and administratively unwise approach. The only way to cut the total cost to the British taxpayer was to merge the administrations, consolidate the budget, and pay for one Governor-General instead of two separate High Commissioners. 2. Logistics and infrastructure. Unified rail policy. Even with no valuable exports, the British still needed to move personnel, military, and basic supplies across the territory. They needed a coordinated railway system. Separate policies for the North's railway and the South's railway created complications and duplicated effort. Amalgamation solved the need for a single, coherent transport and communication strategy. 3. Territorial control. Consolidating power. After the scramble for Africa, the British wanted to secure a single, large, contiguous territory against potential challenges from neighboring French and German colonies. A unified colony and protectorate of Nigeria was a strategic political entity for asserting and simplifying control over a vast sphere of influence. Conclusion. In the original reality, the southern surplus from cash crops was used to plug the northern deficit. In your hypothetical scenario, no cash crops, both the North and South would be running a massive financial deficit. This would make the Colonial Office even more determined to amalgamate, as the British government in London would want to stop funding two failing colonial administrations and reduce the cost by running just one combined, minimally funded territory. The motive was less about profit and more about minimizing loss and ensuring administrative self-sufficiency, or at least less reliance on London's money. Would you like to know how the indirect rule system, used by the British, contributed to the challenges of post-colonial Nigeria?
Yes, we already know the indirect ruling of British. We know that they handed over to Fulani for them to continue. That is why they are fighting to keep Muslim tickets to today. When you listen to such, there are things that when you listen to them, it will trigger anger in you. For when you see somebody who claims that he's a one Nigeria under your own God's given mineral resources, and under that, you are going down under somebody to work. The only thing that I'm establishing for you to know, for the world to know, that those lies they ditch on us and keep in documents, that we have laid our hand in every document that support what we are doing, that we have come to conclude that the only solution that we have, that the world have right now, is to organize United States of Biafra government. That is the only solution. And why we are playing this way is for you to understand English very well. That we Biafran people, we understand that everything about Nigeria is because of economic interest of a white man called Luga and his girlfriend. That is why he's killing people till today. That is why people are dying till today. Let us see who is on the line. Hello, brother. Good morning from here. Yeah. Yes. Coming out loud and clear. Thank you so much. Good morning.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Very well. Your voice is coming out loud and clear. Yes, your voice is coming out.
Okay. Good morning to all Biafra. Hello?
You are coming out loud and clear. The mic is yours. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my brother, opening in the equivalent and putting a pussy on that planet of Mopma. That's me, your man, the regular one about to bed.
You see?
Yeah, open to it in no queen. You know, this our declaration is now. They have nowhere up at here, our Prime Minister, Samuel Banaka.
Yes.
And they have prepared themselves for a day like this, so that Oga Habiam Harobish this our freedom again.
Exactly.
But by the grace of God, our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozo Rabezi, saw what is about to happen. And
Yes.
she now used the wisdom that God gave to her to quench so many things, fire, and bang.
Yeah.
Which not, if we fail them now, all those are kind of put that na 36,000 people. Those people know what is going on. And they found a day like this. How we can destroy this freedom. But I can't function in today. If not, if we can't hear not today, what can they use when they ban you with the actually the people are still talking about Fulani herdsmen. They don't know that these people have already recruited the main bandits in Southeast because South.
Yes.
When you Southeast, they recruit to go. Onye get take had the agenda. Carol had the order. This guy and Asari Dokubo.
Yes.
Asari Dokubo today. Ano Chigo, Benue Tunji, na North. Ono Chigo Hanyana na Southeast side today for him to do all those operation in it. If Rebuba go to do if na East side, if Tiger base, Asari Dokubo Pundi lead
Yes.
This our border. Agadi nwoke agbaburu ndị security gbagburu si na ebuba Soludo kpọpụtara. Anyị gburu atụmanụ afọ na-arụ na-edozi egbe.
Yeah.
All the agenda ndị a ji webata na Southeast ị na-egbusisi ụmụ nwoke anyị nwere. Anyị nwere ike na-eche na ndị anụwa na ndị a ga-arụ ha gala ụdịrị ọgụ afọ ga na ede anụwa. No. The way how get you through the government, how conquer. You know they have conquered the governor signing the senator signing. Nobody have much to get to say anything.
Exactly.
Now they will use the security. Now they will use the security aspect for how they create. When they create the problem, they will okay in our place. And those people live for now have create. How we be community abaya our men of ground, abaya Biafra Liberation Army, and some of them how useful. If you watch so many of our people in this take amnesty today, or how mbundi no chirizi, they by na this security activity no ana jaroro na ni bobani. That man up one video na gari kita na one man about the man that man up agadi won can do debwe.
Yes. From Lille.
Exactly, Lille here in the local government. Only have that man for half year be fine. That guy have to supuna also na Biafra Liberation Army before. Or how abundi pro na government no apparently na government or.
Exactly.
These people in Nagwagi they have created any nega abido cross one problem na Igbo by the grace of God. Now the wisdom non-able of some she quench all those things by the grace of God.
Drop war, arm struggle totally. Drop war. That is able to beat over the hands down. Because every bank catch you with a down.
Makachineke, if India can because you watch here, then Southeast in Nigeria government recruit on the bloggers.
Yeah.
Recruit the whole perfect media scene and Mapasia can come Rahame, Hebrew about social media, then Hebrew the top media, Arise television, China television, Pejizia, we international, BBC, UK, Hebrew Pugaraha, Utaki Africa to America, but she can have been a very then Dr. Goza has the wisdom for a day like this to happen. That is why you see them, they are very confused. Farmers phenomenon.
Exactly, my brother.
They are very confused.
Yeah.
Okay, look at the man. This March, the other day, 29th, 1 year anniversary, just common with population ego straight. But that's our March. That had you today, our men or grand that day, with a population, they were in Niru. Come we put on that very one half that they don't ever had the same commission.
Nigeria.
Which that now open and
go on.
I'm thinking, on which that now open our leader, our Dr. Kosa Rabese, Amalibe, oh, we can do the say in Kahaman and we go say, Pahano, go sing Adadio Rama, no try, go see the Bobajana, yes, men of grand dying when he hears you a lot. By now, my brother, by now, in here, Canadian men are start inside in Agadebu.
Exactly.
Fulani na ga-ebido gbuo ndị mmadụ na a na-egbu ha aba ha no Biafra Liberation Army Biafra Liberation Army. Not be able to that day. Not now the man. But they don't know anything again to do. Because the man put us saying that now we are doing I celebrating our new 1 year anniversary. You did not see us carry any gun. We carry only our flag to celebrate our 1 year anniversary of our independence. But on your short Chineke na they can on your bonnet Biafra, man that much of Biafra, you won't be IPOP no na any sort command and control. If you know that you need Biafra, you should come and embrace the United States of Biafra. That is the only way we will have our freedom. Forget any hate in Ngozi Arabeso, forget any hate in Nnamdi Kanu, forget any hate in Simon Ekpa, but this nature of Biafra. Begin to our leader Emega Iwe that now meet is a power and don't meet that can you get to destroy that for Biafra all before.
Yeah.
That is the reason why you see them. It don't have the strength of this man today, Granado. This U.S. Congressman that are Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because the man already on a tweet. Always got your emails, both pair. The man about where I want to tweet was both Buchiatia. Man and all eyes on him. Open Finland made an open investigation. Has had an Biafra investigation. We see an Samuel Ekpa if that Finland is that Nahaka had the Ocha, that Nibe Nahaka investigation. How can you make that the investigation, open investigation, going open a man and Finland on a Biafra land? The hand investigation, Kamara the allegation in the Professor Simon Ekpa. My brother, by now, I carry one hat that here in Nigeria put the house as a couple. But they had their underground investigation based on the hatch of their own pocket. But as they went that the investigation in Nigeria didn't with it, here in a country really there our Prime Minister today. So my brother, these people, social media is power.
Honestly.
And if you are a real Biafra that picture, if you are a real Biafra that needs freedom, go to S handle. If Ngozi Arabeso they tweet, if this upcoming like Ngozi Arabeso, no problem. When are you the whole congressman Nile, they ever get you to hear about Biafra or ever our freedom now.
Exactly.
That place is where our freedom now. Every day making sure that you go for protest. Although that this Larimo, everything but our Biafra, then at that place no dey tweet there. Because so ever our freedom now. And all that now our leader Martin Nnamdi you see everybody should come to social media. Never our freedom now. If you know that you need freedom, go to this social media now and begin to do something. So my brother, asking Chineke Nagozegi, Nihomi Nebe, that the ways you not always think to God, in a top part, in a question, on your brother went up. So one name Dalo.
Thank you so much for your calling. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
May Elohim protect and bless you
welcome.
also. We move. Yes.
Yeah, you too.
Yes. So, my people, the most important thing is what we are doing, and we are not stopping because we must let them know that we understand it. I greet you, Fisher. Good morning from here. I greet you. Let the world know that we are not playing this time around. Let the world understand the importance of why Biafran people, why they denied Biafra in 1967 to 1970. And in 1971, go further. They create more countries in Africa. Because those countries does not have palm kernel, cocoa, and what again? And the crude oil. That is why they want us to die. That is why they must pay for their atrocities they committed in Biafra land. They will pay dearly, no matter how they may think. Look at the interest of creating a country. Please, I want to know, where is this country in the world that was being the interest of the creation is because of the gain, interest of gain, how much money we make, that he will take by himself and give you in your own land what they want to give to you. Chai, on our room. Please, if you are just joining us, please like and share the program. I don't know. These days, our like is always getting very small. I don't know. YouTube always kick out. I don't know whether is this happening. Please check. If you never like the program, if you're first time coming, there is a 3 dot in front of you. Click on that dot, it will open. You will see like and share. Then share the program. Subscribe on the page. Also, there's a notification there. Keep it on. You will know that whenever we are live, the message will come to you without you looking for someone to share it to you. Unless you have personal somebody you want to share with. So, my people of Biafra, what we are doing here is let the world know, the British know, that we know what they did in the past. That we are not going to allow them to do it anymore. That we understand how they hated Biafran people. And how they joined, how they pursued Nigeria to kill Biafran people, to wipe us away, to cause genocide. That's why I said that any measurement that's being given to Nigeria should also be given to the so-called people of UK and London, the evil people. If there is anything, please, my people, we must continue. We are going to play without saying a word. After that, we may call it a day. Listen again. I told you today, I finally understand. Oh, so it's not only because of oil that got eyes of the British. No. What got the eyes? That's why when they landed in 1804, they take time to study everywhere. They study Eastern region, Old Eastern region. They study North. They study Yoruba, them. They study everybody before they can come back to and say the only way for us to get what we want is that let them come together. As we are coming together, we are not going to allow them. We are going to frustrate them. We are going to, even if they go into war, nobody will put ceasefire for them to be wiped away. The only amalgamation happened because of there is crude oil, palm kernel, and cocoa. That is only why British, after studying, and they put all the lies to AU, to EU, to Commonwealth, to all the African countries in the world. They put lies on our head that if they grant us recognition that we are going to create more countries in Africa. My question now is, who created Ethiopia? Who created Algeria, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Namibia? Who created all this? Sorry. And all these countries has come into existence. Why our own was being denied? Why our own was being what? Denied outrightly, but their own. We must continue, my people.
That is an excellent question that helps distinguish the reasons for the amalgamation of 1914 from the motivations in the 1967 to 1970 Civil War. The answer is yes. The British would almost certainly have amalgamated Nigeria, even if there had been no petroleum oil, crude oil, in the eastern region. The amalgamation of the northern and southern protectorates in 1914 was driven by factors completely separate from the later discovery and strategic importance of crude oil, which only became a major economic force in the 1950s and 60s. Here are the primary reasons for the 1914 amalgamation. 1. Economic and administrative efficiency, the primary driver. Fiscal deficit. The Northern Protectorate was a large landlocked territory that constantly ran a significant budget deficit. It lacked access to the sea and relied on trade revenues from
Now the north, and about to do the eastern region, old eastern region, under landlocked, and I work here. Now the north, under landlocked, not old eastern region. Let's continue.
the south. Southern surplus, the Southern Protectorate, which included the eastern region, was highly prosperous, generating a large surplus primarily through the export of palm oil, cocoa, and other cash crops. Cost-cutting. The British Colonial Office viewed maintaining two separate administrations, with duplicate staff, infrastructure and services, as economically wasteful and administratively unwise. The main goal of amalgamation was to use the revenue surplus from the South to subsidize and cover the costs of administering the North, thereby relieving the burden on the British Treasury in London. 2. Strategic and transport coordination. Railways. Unifying the territories allowed for better coordination of major infrastructure projects, particularly the burgeoning railway network. A unified system was essential for moving the valuable cash crops, palm oil from the east and south, groundnuts/cotton from the north.
Do you hear why they amalgamated in Nigeria? 3 things: crude oil, palm wine, and what again? Just forget right now. Okay, and the cocoa. Cocoa, that is things that made them to amalgamate Nigeria. That's why British built company already before the amalgamation. And the first year of those, in fact, what is our offense because of only this oil, crude oil? He says they explain it that onto this, that Northern are under landlocked, but when it's come to the GDP, that the Biafran plan to do the white people, they are highest on it because they have what it takes to produce it. But today, are we producing anything? The answer is no. But there is no machine to produce. When you see people lying, let America, let Russia, let those their fans that come on this page and write good words, please send this message to them. Tell them that everything that British did in the past was pure lie, propaganda and deceit. They deceive all of you. British did what? Deceive all of you. Lie to Africa, lie to UN, lie to Commonwealth because of what? They are protecting only interests of economy. And that is why we are dying. We said enough is enough. So, everything that is happening at this time is time to Chukwuka want to use to expose everything. Then Biafran people will grant their recognition. Then Mass and Kano will come out free and fair. Let nobody be deceived. Do not be deceived. Do not panic. The government of the United States of Biafra are doing absolutely 99% of what they're supposed to do. Do not panic. We must continue to support them. We must continue to give them all, because if not for this our declaration, our own for wipe away. But declaration is holding us till today. That is why you must thank our DPM and those who really support the movement. Let nobody tell you otherwise, but listen from here for you to know that if there's no those things, no, we become in Nigeria today. We are people that believe in the right things to do and protect our life. So, my people, we are going to end it here until we come back again tomorrow and next tomorrow. We're going to have our full time to do proper analysis. There is unfinished programs that we are going to try to use 2 days, Saturday, Sunday morning, to ratify those news, and we move ahead. So from me, from here, it is a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Until we see you tomorrow.